Saturday primetime college football on ESPN. Tonight from the Swamp, the LSU Tigers take on the Florida Gators, a team with payback on their minds. A year ago, Florida rolled into Baton Rouge with an air of utter invincibility. But a swarming LSU defense produced big play after big play to sack the #1 team of the nation. Once the hostile crowd took over, the Gators realized they weren't getting out of Death Valley alive. This season, Steve Spurrier has delayed his toughest decision long enough. After a month of musical quarterbacks and a week where they scored just 1 touchdown, he decided to give the ball to sophomore Jesse Palmer, with every intention that it's his team start to finish. Saturday night in the Swamp. This crowd is as loud as it gets, and they are ready to explode tonight, ready for payback. As 12th-ranked LSU comes calling on 6th-ranked Florida. Gainesville, Florida, gorgeous evening, not a cloud in the sky. Number 12 comes in against number 6. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin. Welcome to primetime college football once again. Yep, it was just a year ago that huge upset occurred over in Baton Rouge. The goalpost came down, and what a celebration ensued, and the Florida fans haven't forgot that. In fact, all we've heard since we got here on Thursday is they want revenge. But as far as the Florida football team is concerned, I think you could ask them, and to the man, they would say revenge is not even on their mind. This Florida team would just like to get a good game under their belt. This is a team that has been besieged by turnovers, particularly in the red zone. And I want to give you a figure and see if you can believe it. The Florida Gators in giveaway-takeaway ratio are 111th in the nation. That's horrible. They fumbled in the red zone at Tennessee. They lost that one in overtime. They almost were upset by Alabama last week as they fumbled in the red zone again. Steve Spurrier is scratching his head. People are asking the question, how good is Florida this year? Well, they're good enough to be #1 in the conference in defense, #1 in the, or #2 in the conference in offense. And Jerry DiNardo will be the first one to tell you, you better not come to Gainesville with a lack of respect, because that could be hazardous to your health. It's LSU and Florida coming up. Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten are standing by here in Gainesville. Right now, let's go back to the studio and Larry Veal. Larry?
Thanks, Ron. We'll be here all night long, keeping you up to date on everything that's happening in college football. And do we have a story for you? Nebraska goes down to defeat at Texas A&M. What a shocker. Late fourth quarter, Huskers down by a touchdown, trying to drive. Bobby Newcomb picked off by Cedric Curry. Good night, game over, drive home safely. A&M first win over a top 10 team in 10 tries, 28-21. Cancel those Fiesta Bowl reservations for the Huskers. Florida State in the process of beating Miami for the 4th straight time. Battle of top 10 teams, Georgia and Tennessee. How would the Vols do without Jamal Lewis, their star running back? Fine. T. Martin to Peerless Price. 22-3 Vols at that point. That was the final. Vols in Arkansas will be the only unbeatens left in the SEC. And Notre Dame crushes Arizona State 28-9. The Irish now 4-1. Coming up, LSU and Florida. Steve Spurrier's choice. Jesse Palmer trying to shoot down the Tigers. Next.
Swamp, and for good reason. They don't even want a breath of air in here. They want it to be hot and humid and uncomfortable as possible on the opposition. And as far as the head coach here of these Florida Gators, he is trying to make it less of a problem for his quarterbacks. In fact, this week, Steve Spurrier said we're not going to play musical quarterbacks anymore. We're going to name one guy. And as we told you in the open, Jesse Palmer is the guy who is going to be the quarterback. Mike Gottfried, I'd love to know your reaction to it. Or you think it's a good idea and about him picking Palmer?
Ron, I think it's an excellent choice. Steve Spurrier was hoping one of the quarterbacks would separate himself from the other quarterback. But statistically, they're almost even. 5 touchdown passes for both quarterbacks. So Steve Spurrier made the decision to go with Jesse Palmer. He figures it's going to give more continuity in his offense, more leadership on the football field for one quarterback to stay in there.
Some good points. Let me show you some figures. I like to play devil's advocate. These are figures on the LSU defense. These are passing yardage against Auburn, Idaho, and Georgia last week. Over 350 yards. And my question to you is, With that kind of pass efficiency, number 79th in the NCAA, can LSU stay with that same defensive system without making some kind of changes?
Ron, that's 1,007 yards in 4 games. Absolutely not. They've got to make some changes in this ball game. They can't play all zone. They've got to mix it up. If they don't, they'll get carved up by Steve Spurrier.
Well, the weather tonight, we mentioned it, it is absolutely gorgeous. 82 degrees, supposed to drop into the 60s tonight. The heat index not really a factor, and the forecast is for clear. LSU won the toss, and they want the football. They do not want to see the Florida Gators have it first. So that means that Kevin Falk will be the deep man, along with Rondell Mealy, and we're underway from the Swamp. Short kick, picked up at the 25. And the return goes to the 32-yard line as Kendall Cleveland came up and took the short kick. Adrian Karsten is on the sideline. Adrian, what do you have for us?
Well, Ron, since fans began to fill this stadium, this game has gone way beyond the walls of the locker room for both teams. For all the LSU Tiger fans who are in here tonight with memories of what happened a year ago tonight, chanting, "Remember Death Valley," they best not forget that since Steve Spurrier came here in 1990, the Gators are 50-2 at home. Now, the first few rows of this stadium are right on top of the teams. How they affect the way they may play, I'll let you know as the game goes on.
Well, it is a time to throw on first down, and he zings it complete to the 42. That's Abram Booty, and he goes across midfield and is tackled at the 46-yard line. 24 yards right off the bat, Mike.
And, Ron, when you have a front seven like Florida has, Morris Watchnose first down is an excellent down for play-action passing. Here he fakes to Kevin Falk, and there's no underneath help. The linebackers took the fake. Abram Booty on the curl route, no underneath help. Good field position for LSU.
Well, Ed Chester is down at the 47-yard line. One of the starting defensive tackles for the Florida Gators, and one of the things that we were going to say tonight in our lineups is the fact that Chester and McGrew last year were not healthy for this ball game at Baton Rouge, and this year that they are, and Chester now goes down in the very first play.
Ed Chester is the barometer. When we talked to Bobby Stoops, the defensive coordinator, he said he's the barometer on our defensive line. Hasn't had the number of sacks that he usually has at this point, but Bobby Stoops felt like he'd have a big game tonight.
Well, Stoops out and visiting with one of the officials already, and we're going to take a commercial break. 14:41 left to play in this opening quarter. We'll be back with more. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service and by Discovery, taking you everywhere for 50 years. Well, I'm afraid that Ed Chester is still down, and they have brought the cart out onto the field, but he is still, as you can see, resting on his back at the 47-yard line. Some of his teammates have come over to check on him. So right now, when we still have a pause of the action, let's check in with Larry Beal. Larry?
All right, thank you, Ron. Certainly we hope the best for Ed Chester as he's getting medical attention. Let's look through the scoreboard because there was a major surprise today as Nebraska, the number 2 ranked team in the country, upended in College Station by Texas A&M 28-21. In the last 9 games previously, A&M had faced a top 10 team. They had gone 0-9. They get revenge for a 54-15 shellacking they took at the hands of the Huskers in last year's conference title game. Tennessee beats Georgia 22-3. Maybe not a surprise, but the margin of victory a little bit shocking. T. Martin again did not put up huge numbers, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, but the Vols remain unbeaten, and their path is clear in the SEC East. Florida State beats Miami for the 4th consecutive time, 26-14 as Chris Wenke throws for a couple of touchdowns. And one more score to pass along here. Penn State and Minnesota just went final a few moments ago as the Nittany Lions bounce back from their loss to Ohio State and win by 10 over the Golden Gophers. Back to Ron Franklin after this.
State Farm presents Rules of the Game.
We're talking about tripping. In this play, the left guard intentionally extends his leg to trip the opponent. What is the penalty? We're talking about tripping. In this play, the left guard extends his leg to trip the opponent. The penalty is 15 yards from the spot of the foul.
Rules of the Game has been brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
So we're back. Ed Chester has just been put on the dolly, and they have not taken him off the field as yet. Both teams, not only his teammates from Florida, but the LSU team came over individually to shake his hand and to wish him well. Mike, take us through the replay. You lose him, but it looks as though he just twisted it on his own. Right here.
Right here, I believe, is Ed Chester. Can't tell, Ron.
Actually, I thought he was the inside guy. It looked like it is his right knee. They have it encased, and it looked as though, Mike, that he just twisted it as he tried to make a move back toward the quarterback. So we are set to go again. First down, LSU. They have the ball at the 46-yard line of Florida. Ball, first carry, he gets nothing. Falk tripped up at the line of scrimmage as 93 Beauchamp came across to knock him down. Also Tico Brown. And here are the starters on offense for LSU. Tyler with Tommy Banks and Kevin Falk behind him. The receivers, Foster has a broken finger. We don't know how much that's going to affect him tonight. And Baggett gets the start at tight end. Kyle Kipps, the regular, injured an ankle last week, did not even make the trip. Todd McClure, the anchor there in the middle. Williams and Langley are the tackles tonight. Reggie Robinson, a third wide receiver, checks in. Short drop to throw, and he underthrows Booty, and it's probably a good thing because I'll tell you, Tony George was right there to do the intercept as Cohen was putting on pressure. Defensively, here are the starters for the Florida Gators. The down four. Beauchamp, Derek Chambers in the ballgame now, McGrew, and Cohen, who had the pressure just now with the quarterback. The linebackers, Kirst gets all the publicity, but keep an eye on number 29, Mike Peterson from Alachua. He is very, very good on the weak side. George and Cromartie, who is a freshman, gets the start at one of the corners. Brown and Grady are the safeties. Third down, line to make, is the 36 of Florida. But Cohen's jumped off.
I think they had some movement in the offensive line. No, Cohen's jumped on the outside, but it looked like the interior of the line was, there was some movement, and that's what they're talking about.
Al Ford is our referee tonight, and he assembles his group, and they discuss it before the penalty or decision is made, and the penalty stepped off.
Before the ball was snapped, defense was in the neutral zone, making the offense move. 5-yard penalty.
You were right, Ron. They called it on Cohen's.
So, let's take
on the outside, the defensive end. That made the left tackle flinch a little bit.
So the 5-yard stepped off, and it's third down and 5. So a bit of a reprieve for the LSU Tigers. Tyler picks up one and then pays for it dearly. And the man I was just talking about, Mike Peterson, finishes him off, but Willie Cohen's is the man who forced him out of the pocket again.
Yeah, Mike Peterson did finish him off, Ron, and made that play because Herb Tyler was on his way for a first down, and Bobby Stoops said he has the ability to run to make those first downs.
Jeremy Witten, who is the pooch punter for LSU, stands back just across midfield. And Travis McGriff, the lone safety for Florida. High kick off the side of his foot. And he wanted to pooch it, but not quite this short. Wow, that thing may not be more than 10 yards. Adrian Carson, let's check in with you.
Ron, the word on Ed Chester, the man who just went down for the Florida Gators, the defensive tackle, dislocated right knee. Rather than try and make any improvement or adjustments to that injury here at the field, he is now on his way to the local hospital for x-rays and tests, I am told, by the medical staff for the Gators. Obviously will play no longer in this game.
Okay, Adrian, the wonderful thing for, in case you're unfortunate enough to have something like that happen, that hospital is not 2 minutes from here, so he will be under observation very quickly. First down for the Gators. You can see the kick only went to the 26. Palmer, first throw. Pressure is on, and they're going to tackle him. Now, it's not going to be a sack. because he picked up 3 yards, but it's Arnold Miller who makes the stop, and it was Booger McFarland who forced him out of the pocket. Here are the starters offensively for the Gators. Palmer with Frazier and Terry Jackson. The wide receivers, they have a multitude of talented people. Nafis Kareem and Travis McGiff, the 2 starters. White Edge is the tight end, and up front, Zach Pillar is the pillar, so to speak, out there with left tackle, the leader of that offensive group. Blitz right up the middle. The handoff goes to Jackson, and I'm telling you, he's going nowhere. Joe Wesley came on the blitz. And LSU coming out with a different look defensively as we take a look at the starters for the LSU Tigers tonight. The down 3, Mitchell, McFarland, and Jarvis Green. The linebackers, the same as we saw last week. Wesley just made the tackle. Dunson, Jamal Hill, and Arnold Miller. And in the secondary, Cummings and Wood are the corners. Roman and LeBlanc, the safeties. Mark Roman had, 16 tackles last week against Georgia. Third down. Line to make is the 36 of Florida, and Palmer wants a timeout. So there's a break in the action. No score. 11:44 left to play in this opening quarter.
Larry Beal back in the studio. Game 3, Braves and Padres, NLCS. San Diego in the 8th, up 2-1. Carlos Hernandez drive down the line. Ryan Klesko falls down, allowing Wally Joyner to score. Padres win 4-1. They lead the NLCS 3-0 going for the sweep of mighty Atlanta.
Shotgun formation on third down. They need to pick up 10 yards. Pressure from the outside, and Palmer gets it away on a very long and dangerous throw. Kareem made the reception, but Mike, that was so far with the throw, that was a danger being picked off.
Well, 3 plays and a lot of movement by LSU on the first 2 plays. On third down, a 3-man rush. Arnold Miller, one of the 3 men rushing, number 98, beat the left right tackle Kenyatta Walker and put a lot of pressure on Jesse Palmer. So LSU showing you a little different defense here early in the ball game.
So Wazalewski comes on to kick it away. Falk is the deep man, and he has dropped off to around the 28. So Florida comes out and stumbles on their first 3 plays. And LSU with a different look defensively as the kick takes an LSU bounce, and it just dies at the 36-yard line. So the Tigers will have excellent field position. Well, coming up next week on ESPN, the #1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes continue their quest for a national title. Joe Germain and company have been on a roll. They'll host Minnesota noon Eastern right here after College game day. Then we'll stay in the Big Ten for a primetime game. Defending co-national champion Michigan takes on Northwestern at 7 o'clock.
Ron, first down's got to be big for LSU because of the strong front 7. So Morris Watts, a lot of play action on first down.
Takes the run, sets in the pocket, and he has got Booty open just across midfield. A deep curl route, and he caught it at the 48.
Same route they ran on the first down play of the ball game. Again, using play action on first down because of the respect of the front 7. Abram Booty, the wide receiver, deep curl. There's no help underneath. Tony George gets separated. First down LSU. Good call by Morris Watts.
So the LSU Tigers trying to take this crowd out of the ball game, so to speak, early. Booty, 2 catches, 42 yards. Blitz coming off the corner. And the option, the pitch goes back to Falk. And he doesn't have much room to run. Grady, the safety, came over and forced him out of bounds, and they're going to say he picked up 2 yards on the play.
If you remember last year, Herb Tyler had a lot of success running the option against this Florida defense. Forced a pitch, gets good blocks on the outside by Larry Foster, but again, you see the pursuit of this Florida defense.
You know, Foster did a nice job of blocking it. Still, Grady just wouldn't give up, kept battling him. Second down. You see the blitz coming from deep in the secondary. Falk gets a block, turns it upfield, and he's open. And tripped up, that would probably have gone for 6 if he doesn't have his feet taken out from under him at the 30. And it was Cromartie, the freshman, who caught him.
Again, LSU with a toss sweep. And Kevin Falk showing you what a good back does. He just waits for a seam to open. Then here's the cut inside. Missed arm tackle, and Cromartie saves a touchdown. Here's the nice cut up inside. There's the missed tackle by Rod Grady.
LSU Tigers making some noise early. 3 carries, 17 yards for Falk, going for the end zone. And this one's overthrown as Booty had run an out. And he threw the ball deep into the corner of the end zone as Cromartie was trying to cover. Now, we should also tell you that Pollard has been suspended for not going to class, and that's the reason Cromartie is starting tonight. They have great expectations of him, but LSU knows that he's a freshman also.
They're going to go after him, Ron. 4 first downs for LSU, and 3 of them have been passes, so they're trying to throw on that first down.
Good look at Bob Stoops on the sideline, who is, of course, the defensive coordinator. 2nd down and 10 from the 4 to 30. Falk hit at the line of scrimmage, and wow, as he snapped back by Beauchamp. That is going to be a loss of about 2 on the play, and rarely do you see Falk hit so squarely and driven back. He normally takes a glancing blow.
And that's why we talk about the front 7. Morris Watts, the offensive coordinator, says the best I've ever coached against. Tennessee, he said, only had 7 first downs and had to punt 9 times. So it tells you that offenses have had trouble running the football against this Florida defense.
So it's 3rd down, Mike, and if they want to keep this one going, they need to take it to the Florida 20. Boy, that snap almost got away from him. Right over the middle. He has got his man, Reggie Robinson. 17 yards, and Herb Tyler continues to impress.
Ron, he's won 26 times in his 32 times he started. He doesn't get rattled. He's a senior. He gets the ball, bad snap off the right. He hits Reggie Robinson on a quick post pattern.
The interesting thing is he knew in that Florida coverage there was a center fielder sitting there, and Reggie still went up, had the concentration to catch the football. From the 15, Falk, left side, fights his way down to the 10-yard line. Mike Peterson trips him up. And again, this Florida crowd, they're cheering, but they are cautious in their optimism right now because LSU is showing them something offensively.
And Ron, I think this is a good move by Jerry DiNardo. He took the football at the start of the game. He told both you and I yesterday, he said, I expect Steve Spurrier to go up early to get the crowd the ball game. What Jerry DiNardo is trying to do is take this crowd out of the ball game.
No score. Clock running. 7 minutes and 52 seconds to play. Opening quarter. Tyler hit in the backfield and knocked down by Beauchamp. And it's Beauchamp who has been getting penetration. And, of course, anytime you do that, a running play, sweeper, off tackle, or where you're dead.
No, he is just getting so much penetration. And Johnny Rutledge, the linebacker behind him, was right behind him to make that tackle on Falk.
So the ball just inside the 15-yard line. It is 3rd down. They need to take it just outside the 5-yard line. What do you call here?
Quarterback draw worked for him last year. We'll see if Herb Tyler calls the quarterback draw.
This is the 9th play of the LSU drive. Tigers do not want to go for 3. They want 6. Brings it out. What a one-handed catch, but a great defensive play by Mike Peterson. Falk reached up with one hand and grabbed it down. So the field goal will come from about 4 yards closer than it was.
And Ron, this is big right here to get the edge, get up on Florida right away.
Danny Boyd is going to do the place kicking tonight. Last week he got muscle spasms, you know, and he left the game. But he says he's okay tonight. It's a 30-yard attempt. But that right hash mark, plenty of distance, and he's good. So Boyd breaks the early 0-0 tie, and at 6:28 left to play opening quarter. LSU goes on the scoreboard first. Welcome back to Gainesville, Florida. As you look at part of the capacity crowd, 85,000 plus, and a lot of folks that come over here from Baton Rouge. The Tiger fans have got a reason to celebrate right now. They're up 3-0 following that 30-yard Boyd field goal. Well, Mike, last year, 95-3 when this game was played. That's how much Florida was outscoring their opponents in the first quarter, and LSU jumped on top 14-0 in that game.
And same thing again. Jerry DiNardo knows the importance of getting on Florida quick. He took the football, won the toss, took the football. He wanted to get points on his board immediately.
Here's the kick, 5-yard line. It's going to be John Capel. Loses the ball, and it's recovered by Florida. He got whacked, and Gillespie comes down on it at the 30-yard line. And I just think Steve Spurrier, it happened right there in front of him. If they had lost another turnover deep in their own territory, I don't know what he would have done.
Well, we talked to him yesterday. He said, we've lost 12 fumbles, and he just shook his head. He just can't understand what's happening protecting the football. And here, just a nice tackle. Very fortunate that Robert Gillespie picked that ball up.
For sure. Palmer continues to operate at quarterback. Gets this one complete. That is Darrell Jackson, number 9, the sophomore out of Tampa. Florida, we were talking during the warm-ups and just watching the number of youngsters that they have at wide receiver that are extremely talented. They just have one, like a cookie cutter. Like they call Central Casting and say, I want somebody 6'1", 195 who can run a 4.3.
And you know the oddball in that is Travis McGriff. He's
That's
only
right.
5'8", but he's their best receiver.
Almost broke the all-time school record last week. Here's Terry Jackson. And he crosses the 50. Now here comes a flag from deep downfield. And LSU was pointing that that's going to go against the Gators. It was a 17-yard rush from scrimmage by Terry Jackson. Woods finally made the tackle. Let's see what Al Ford has got for us here.
Holding during the run, 10 yards from the start of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Well, more frustration. And you notice he doesn't wear the visor anymore, so we can't keep a visor spike count. He didn't think that sent a good message, but, I mean, these things continue to happen. Fumbles and penalties.
Here's another point, Ron. You wonder how much the Tennessee score is affecting Florida early in the ball game.
Gillespie checks into the lineup, loses the ball, and he gets down on it, I believe, at the 36-yard line. Mark Roman was right there on top of him. Gillespie, who was a freshman out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Look at this number. Lost fumbles, they're 112th in the nation. Turnovers and turnover margin, as we mentioned, off the top of the telecast, 111. That's just so un-Florida-like.
Too many mistakes, and Steve Spurrier decided it was time to go to one quarterback, and maybe that would correct some of the mistakes.
So it's third down. They need to take it out to the 40-yard line to keep it going as Doug Johnson watches patiently on the sideline. Right over the middle, ball is overthrown. Hard to tell who he was throwing that pass to. Gillespie, I believe, and Florida has a player down at the 38-yard line. It is Rod Frazier, the sophomore out of Bradenton, and he is still down as the trainers come out to take a look at him. In case you missed the top of the telecast on the very first play from scrimmage, Ed Chester, the fine defensive tackle for the Florida Gators, a senior out of Spring Hill, went down with a dislocated kneecap, and he had to be taken to the locker room. And now Frazier is down.
Frazier, the brother of Tommy Frazier.
Well, they're checking the rib cage area. But he is going to come up quickly, so this is a pretty good sign. Maybe just the wind knocked out of him.
Here's the hit on Frazier right here.
Took an elbow, Mike. Took it looked like an elbow right there to the rib cage. That was Dunson
I want to go back to the Tennessee game, because all the Florida people that were here today that we ran into, they were all watching that Georgia-Tennessee game with great interest, because they figure somebody has to derail Tennessee for them to get back in the hunt for the East Championship. Didn't happen. I think this crowd's a little flat because of that, maybe.
Well, the other thing that's happened in this game tonight with the injury to Chester, everybody was so pumped up and jumping around, and so it took, because of the nature of that injury, it took 8, 9, 10 minutes to get him off the field. So that affects your teammates. Now the injury right here. So it's been one stoppage after another, Mike. They needed, everybody's looking for a flow.
And Ron, the last time Florida punted, they punted away from Kevin Falk, gave great field position again to LSU. The respect that teams have for Kevin Falk's ability, they will not punt to him.
Wazalewski, look at Falk. He's waving for the LSU folks who were here to cheer louder. He kicked this one to him. It is a driving style. Falk all the way back to the 18-yard line. 25, 30, and pushed out of bounds. Here comes a late, now a second late flag and a third.
I think every official threw their flag on that play.
And I think Cummings was guilty of a clip on the play. So LSU is going to take this possession over with their worst field position of the night, far and away. 46 yards on the kick.
Blocking the back by the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down team.
So here we go right here.
Try to pin Kevin Falk into the sideline if you're going to punt the football to him.
I'm sorry, Mike.
No, it's all right.
You can see that push right in the back. So they're going to start it off at the 19-yard line.
4 first down plays, 3 throws already on first down. Let's see if Herb Tyler continues.
Rondell Mooney in the backfield. He gets the pitch, and boy, does he get whacked hard by Grady. The sophomore out of Cuthbert, Georgia, number 47. Grady is a real headhunter and likes to punish. To be a strong safety, you have to be.
Well, you got to come up and support the run, and that's why you are a strong safety, supporting the run on toss sweeps and outside runs, and then being involved in the passing game. If you're going to play Florida, I guess the biggest thing is to have a veteran quarterback like Herb Tyler. Had 222 yards, total yards against Florida last year when they upset him.
Pressure from the outside, going to go on top. They got one-on-one coverage, but Booty, the ball was well overthrown. Looked as though Tico Brown had the cover on him. And LSU with a player now down at the 10-yard line, and that is Tyler.
Tony George came on a corner blitz and I believe hit Herb Tyler.
No, there was nobody to fake to there. You could see George and
got blocked, but he got cut. And he rolled right into the foot of Herb Tyler.
Looks like the left foot. You're right. Left foot, left ankle.
Well, this has been something. This is the third injury, which has taken a lot of time. And Herb Tyler looks like it's his knee.
Craig Knoll is warming up on the sideline. He is a redshirt freshman out of Alexandria, Louisiana.
Ron, you just can't afford to lose your veteran quarterback. I've been really high on Herb Tyler. He's 56 out of 85 coming into this ball game. 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Doesn't talk to the media. He's a shy guy. He doesn't want a lot of attention. Just wants to do it on the football field. Corner blitz by Tony George.
You could see, as Mike said, Tony got blocked into him. And his momentum carried him right on into his leg as Jack Marucci, the trainer for LSU, was out giving closer investigation along with the medical team. As they warm up on the sideline, looking for some numbers here as far as Knoll. He's played in 2 games. He's 8 of 16, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and has thrown for 100 yards.
Looks like Herb Tyler's all right. Craig Knoll come into the ball game, and I'm sure Morris Watts will call something safe for him.
Well, it'll be a handoff to either Mealy or Falk, depending on who's in there, I'm sure. And you're right. That man, Morris Watts, does not want to have to go with a young redshirt freshman, not down here. There's the running play, and I think you can look up and see number 14 come right back off the bench as Cohen stripped him up. Actually, it's punting time, so Tyler will get a chance to stay over there, and they can work on him a little bit more. Standing ovation for the Florida defense.
Ron, this should give Florida pretty good offensive field position, and I look for Steve Spurrier to throw the ball downfield a little bit more this next series.
Corey Gibbs kicking into a slight breeze. Travis McGriff is the deep man for Florida. Pressure right up the middle, and they knocked him down, and here's a flag. McGriff will make the catch, no fair catch, and he is tackled immediately. Wow, that's good coverage. 40 yards on the punt.
Have a personal foul, roughing the kicker, gets the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, that's big, Ron, there. Looked like Florida had a chance to block this kick.
Manuel is the one who ran into it. Isn't it? Yeah, right there, number 4.
Tried to pull off. Just got too far. Usually when you practice that, Ron, you know the punter is going to be at a certain depth because you look at the tapes, you put a towel there all week, and you say that's the point you don't want to go past as you work to get to that towel to try to block the kick. But Manuel got a little bit too far.
Big cheer from the LSU faithful who are over here for Tyler, who comes on the field. You can see that look of frustration on Steve Spurrier's face. Here comes the blitz. Tyler got his no. Foster dropped it. And you have to wonder if that broken finger might not have caused him to not be able to hold on to the football. Let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Deep bruise to the right thigh for Herbie Tyler. They actually changed the thigh board in his pants there because they thought he was hit so hard. They actually broke that thigh pad. They checked it, put it back in. He's good to go. Didn't even give him any treatment. No ice, no nothing. He just wanted to get back in. He thought just moving that around would actually make it feel better, Ron.
Okay, Adrian, thanks. Good report. Good hustle there, big guy. Second down and 10. Under 3 minutes to play, opening quarter. 3-0 LSU. Banks, the fullback, and he goes nowhere. As you can see, Curse and Reggie McGrew combining down on the bottom of that stack.
Well, when we watched practice on Thursday, Florida, they constantly, Bobby Stoops was working on Tommy Banks, the fullback. They ran a lot of trap plays against the Florida defense last year with some success. Tommy Banks did not have a running carry in the game last week against Georgia. He's only had 8 carries coming into the ballgame, mainly a blocking fullback.
So it's third down. Tyler got him. Nope, incomplete. Couldn't hold on. Robinson. George was there, and just enough contact. And I think you could tell by that quick conversation that I'm not sure they were totally on the same page of the playbook.
And Ron, another tough snap to the right of Herb Tyler. Good enough athlete to overcome it, move to the left, gets good zip on the football to Reggie Robinson. Just good play in the secondary by Florida.
Gibbs again to kick. He was roughed on the last one. Good coverage kick. Very high. Fair catch is signaled for and is made at the 18-yard line. And let's check in with Larry Beal. Larry?
Hey, Ron. Take you across the country. Battle out west, USC hosting Cal. Mike Van Ropforst completing only 45% of his passes. But good things happen when you find R.J. Sowers. Gets away, 76-yard touch. USC leading 21-7.
Back here in the swamp, it's Florida taking over again with poor field position.
I expect them to go down the field deep here, Ron.
But they are, Mike, on first down. Deep over the middle, it's McGriff. He has been Mr. Steady. And as Mike mentioned, he's not big. At 5'8", 189, a senior from right here in Gainesville.
Came into the game with 85 career catches. Jesse Palmer trying to find him across the field, fakes the draw play, hits Travis McGriff on a dig route, which is a down and across the middle in front of Mark Roman.
Roman made that tackle, going to go on top. Almost intercepted at the 25-yard line, as the intended receiver was Travis Taylor, a speedster out of Jacksonville, and Davis had the cover. He almost got it.
But I like this play calling by Steve Spurrier, because it's going to loosen up the LSU defense a little bit. Now you make them defend the width of the football field and the length of the football field. You put a couple deep throws in there. That'll open up the draw and open up the little short passing game.
Lou Tepper, defensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers, under some fire this week back over in Baton Rouge over the team's performance last week defensively. Palmer puts air under this one. There's McGriff, and he got behind him. He's gone. 15, 10, 5, touchdown McGriff. 68 yards. Mike, I was watching some other things on the monitor. A flag went down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Florida. Now, I don't know what it was for. I was watching a touchdown pass, but it was way back up the field. So they'll kick the extra point a little deeper.
35 yards. Jeff Chandler to attempt this extra point. And he missed it. So the unsportsmanlike conduct cost him, and you can see Coach Spurrier coming down the sidelines, not in a good mood.
Jesse Palmer with a nice throw to Travis McGriff on a corner route. Chris Cummins, number 19, just a bad job of pursuit angle.
Mike, if you go back and look, he had slipped. He's in the right corner of the picture. Watch the slip right here. He gave him the good hit.
Step.
Yeah. And that was that half a step that went the wrong way.
Now that series, Ron, good pass protection by the Florida offensive line. It looked like, again, giving Jesse Palmer time to throw the football. They're throwing the ball deeper down the field in that series of downs.
Steve Spurrier talking with the side judge about
one-way conversation, too.
Well, but here I go back to my point. I get on my stump again. Why in college? Well, why don't we just say who committed the foul and what it was for, and then they can coach and they don't have to continue to run up and down the sideline.
I agree, because everybody looked at Travis McGriff running in for the touchdown, and the penalty was about at the 40-yard line.
Chandler with the kickoff, line drive, and this one's going to go out of the back of the end zone. Well, coming up tomorrow on ESPN, NASCAR Winston Cup excitement from Talladega. Coverage begins on ESPN2 at 12:30 Eastern. Then it's the Winston 500. 5 drivers battling for $1 million bonus. And last year's winner, Terry Labonte, will also be on hand to defend this title. Race time, 1 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN. Banks. Rutledge was there as well, but he's going to have a gain of about 3.
Ron, now as the game develops, Bobby Stoops gets the information from upstairs, the coaches upstairs, of what's the pass protection, what's the pass patterns, and what it looks like on down and distance of what LSU is trying to do. Now you try to zero in a little bit on the game plan and try to figure out different formations, now what you want to do defensively.
Bobby Stoops told us yesterday that Florida is playing more zone this year also because of what the offenses are dictating. Deep route, got his man Booty, and the ball just overthrown.
We had Tico Brown on an island. Abram Booty made a move on him and separated a little bit, but Herb Tyler couldn't get him the football. Too deep a pass. You were talking about Bobby Stoops, and he said a lot of things offensively that's happening. He didn't want to play a lot of man against Tennessee because Tennessee was a running football team. Didn't want the backs of the defensive backs to be to the back coming through, breaking through the line of scrimmage, so he played more zone against Tennessee. A lot of teams will come in here and play 4, 5 wide receivers at one time, and Empty said he didn't want to always be in man-to-man to let the quarterback get a read on his coverage.
Well, Tyler's going to call a timeout. We got 24.3 seconds left until halftime, or until the end of the first quarter. Tyler's numbers: 4 of 10, 60 yards. He has missed his last 4. Just been a lot of stoppages because of injuries and what have you, in this first quarter has gone almost an hour. Tyler goes to the sideline. Well, Falk had a big pickup block just a moment ago as the blitz was coming off the corner, and was not easy work for him. But Falk, to me, Mike, as good a player as he has been, I think he's improved another 50% this year. His attitude, everything. He is really playing all-out football every down.
He just gets better and better, Ron. He runs the football very well. When they move him out as a pass receiver, usually they look to try to get him the football, and he's blocking, as you said. He's a punt returner, forces the other team to kick the ball away from him. He makes an impact on the ball game, quiet impact.
Adrian Karsten, you have more on this subject.
Well, Ron, we're talking about a young man who just very easily could have been in a Gator uniform. He has a lot of respect for Steve Spurrier's first and the Florida Tradition second. He was recruited here after the upset victory by LSU last year. He found Steve Spurrier in that sea of people just to shake his hand. The reason he wound up back in Baton Rouge is because he was about to become a father. Now, with a 3-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, he really has changed the face of LSU football, and he's happy to be in that Tiger uniform.
Adrian, it's third down, and they need to take it to the 30-yard line. You see the pressure up the middle, and they dump it off, and there's our man. And Falk is going to take it out across the 35 to the 39, and Tico Brown had to make a secure tackle, or Falk was going to take it the distance.
This is a pretty good job by the LSU offensive line of picking up the blitz. Florida brought both inside linebackers and popped a little screen out to Kevin Falk. Nice play call again, trying to set the tempo to this Florida defense.
1st and 10 for LSU. And that's going to be, or this will be, the final play of the first quarter as Tyler rolls and gets it complete. Foster held on at the 45 of Florida. Beg your pardon, it was Booty. 16 yards on the completion, and that is the end of the first quarter. So let's take a break. Florida 6. And the Tigers 3. We'll be back with more right after this.
The Land Rover Discovery, often imitated, never duplicated.
At BASF, we don't make the boat, we make it faster. We don't make the safety seat, we make it more comfortable. We don't make the studio, we make it quieter. We don't make the golf clubs, we make them more powerful. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
Hey, how's it going, Sam?
Oscar, you have so many friends.
Yes, it's important for me to keep in touch with the people I care about.
Me too, but my phone bill can get expensive.
You should use 10-10-3-2-1.
I've heard of it.
With 10-10-3-2-1, I save a lot. 50% on every call over 20 minutes.
50%? That's big.
It's easy. Just dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1 and the number.
I'll try it.
Call your sister and tell her I said hi.
Hey.
Who doesn't want to save 50%? I can help you plan ahead and make sure you have money for things like kids' education.
That's fantastic. But I was thinking about starting my own business.
As a matter of fact, that's part of the plan, too. Now, here's the best part. Guaranteed income for you and Meg to retire in style.
Axel. Dynamic vision. Equitable, a trusted resource. Call us. Equitable is a member of the global AXA Group.
Who else but Sonic could take a great American invention like the toaster and go it one better?
Introducing new toaster sandwiches from Sonic. Served on Texas toast made fresh to order in your choice of bacon cheeseburger or chicken club. Both topped with crispy bacon and tangy smoked cheddar cheese.
With a terrific taste of something totally different. They're the greatest thing since sliced toast.
Drive in for a change at Sonic. This month, try our new chocolate-covered peanut butter shake made with Peter Pan peanut butter.
The Land Rover Discovery, often imitated, never duplicated.
Welcome back to Gainesville, Florida, 6-3. The Gators on top. LSU receivers in the first quarter. Booty 3 for 58. Falk 2 for 18. And Robinson 1 for 17. Falk getting just as much as he can, and that's not much. He got back to the line of scrimmage. McGrew is on the bottom of the pile. I believe this is, what, the third time that LSU has been in Florida territory in this first half already.
Only been able to cash in a field goal. Reggie McGrew is getting a lot of penetration, number 92, on this LSU offensive line. He had knee surgery 2 years ago. Bobby Stoops said he's the hardest working player on our football team. It's making life miserable for the offensive line of LSU.
Yep. He has given them some headaches, and now a timeout is called by LSU, and Tyler will go over to the sideline. So we will have another stoppage in play here with 14:22 remaining in the first half. Well, the surprising thing about the timeout just a moment ago, that's the second one in a minute, Mike. Little surprising, but I guess the coach would say if you're not sure, come talk to him. 2nd and 10. Wheels it out complete, and that's catch number 4 for Booty. As he makes the grab and steps out of bounds. Tony George was there, but not much he could do about it. And Adrian, let's check in with you.
I was talking to Abram Booty yesterday, Ron, at their short practice here with LSU, and he told me the coaches expect me. This is Abram Booty now. The coaches expect me and tell me I should have a career game. They told me, yes, Abram, you do a great job getting separation between your defensive backs. You won great routes, but because of Foster's injury to his hand, expect to have a career game already. 4 catches.
4 for 64. Tyler intercepted, and that's Rutledge. Tyler, I can promise you, wishes he had that back off the wrong foot, throwing off balance. Cohen's is the man who fouled it up and made him throw early.
Ron, your point's well taken. He was throwing off his back foot, and usually when you throw off your back foot, bad things happen to you as a quarterback. Trying to get the ball to Kevin Falk, just didn't have anything on it. Rutledge with the interception.
Tell you what, if he hadn't picked it off, Tico Brown would have. He was moving up as well.
Another missed opportunity.
Shotgun formation for Palmer. He's under pressure, and is going to be hit, and he's sacked by Jarvis Green.
Couldn't find anything open in the zone coverage of LSU. They were perfect in their coverage. He was waiting for somebody to come open. Jarvis Green, who came into the ball game with 3.5 sacks, is going to put pressure on Jesse Palmer and force him out of the pocket.
Number 20, Gillespie, has come into the lineup. He lines up as he's a running back, and he lines up as one of the tailbacks, and hit from behind. It's going to be an incomplete pass. I was about to say they like to throw to him, but when you get that kind of pressure, as Arnold Miller did, you're not going to throw to anybody.
Wow. Arnold Miller is just killing Zach Pillar. He is coming off the edge, and it's just not a contest in this first part of the ball game. Zach Pillar set and too close to the line of scrimmage. Arnold Miller too quick for him.
So it's 3rd down, and Florida needs to take it out to the 41.5-yard line.
One thing they'll tell him in the break is to get off the ball a little bit more. Talking about Zach Pillar.
Deep over the middle. Overthrown. He was going for the feast Kareem, but Woods was there with the cover. And Florida's going to have to punt, and that was far and away their most troublesome 3 downs and out.
That was a nice job. You give Luke Tepper credit. His defensive players are in a 2-deep zone, but they're knocking the receivers of Florida off their routes. Doing a very good job of making contact.
Wazalewski will punt it away, and there's Falk. He is just inside the 35-yard line. 6-3, Florida leads it. Line drive, returnable kick from the 40. And it's going to be knocked out of bounds at the 42. 36 yards on the kick and 2 on the return. Well, old friends collide tomorrow night on ESPN Sunday Night Football. Dan Reeves returns to the Meadowlands with his surprising Atlanta Falcons to take on Danny Cannell and the New York Giants at 8:15. And then ABC's Monday Night Football. Dan Marino and the Dolphins meet unbeaten Jacksonville at 8. ESPN and ABC, exclusive homes of primetime NFL football. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you from the Swamp, the home of the Florida Gators, Gainesville, Florida. Gators lead it by 3. Tyler under pressure, and he's going down. It's Cohen's again. I'm telling you, Cohen's in Beauchamp. If it's not one, it's the other.
And Ron, it's quick penetration. I mean, they're not being touched. They're beating the blocks of the offensive line. Number 55, Willie Cohen's right in here, beating the block to the inside. And he's right on Herb Tyler before he can get his shoulders turned to throw the football.
You can see Thomasy was going out to try to pick up the outside rush guy, Curse, and he just moved right by him on the inside.
Willie Cohen's is nicknamed the Train, and that's what Herb Tyler sees coming after him.
Well, he was on schedule. 2nd down. 17. It's going to be delay of game against the LSU Tigers, so it'll be 2nd and 22.
Snap, play clock ran out, 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
This has been a defensive football game the first half.
Well, down on the Florida sideline, number 12, Doug Johnson, is loosening up while the defense is on the field, so maybe that would suggest that Steve Spurrier is about to go to another one-quarterback situation with somebody different. Tommy Banks, nothing doing. Stopped at the 30-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and a long way. That's Rutledge who put the stop on him as you look at Doug.
And when you go back to Jesse Palmer, who Doug Johnson warming up the second half, that 2-quarterback tandem, the reason Steve Spurrier likes Jesse Palmer is he doesn't get riled up. Anything that happens to him in the ball game, he's able to shun it and just keep playing. So I'd be surprised if he brings Doug Johnson in here this early. But Sparky Anderson used to put the hook on those pitchers quick.
They're going to take it all the way to the 48 of Florida. And he just called another timeout. That's the last one that the Tigers have in this first half. So let's take a break. 11:20 until halftime. 6-3 Florida. This Heisman Classic moment is brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. Against Auburn in 1966, Florida's Steve Spurrier threw for 259 yards, averaged 47 yards a punt, and capped off the win with a 40-yard field goal. It helped him earn a place in Heisman history. Steve Spurrier on the sideline, and he's thinking about anything but Heisman right now, because we have just witnessed on the sideline, that is Jesse Palmer, his starting quarterback, and they have ice on his shoulder. His shoulder pads are off. We mentioned to you that Doug Johnson was warming up, and here's that last sack that he suffered, and you see him going down hard on the right shoulder. We'll get a report from Adrian just as soon as possible. Running play, Falk has 5, and we'll have about 7, and that's it. And I'll tell you, Grady has done a nice job tonight. Adrian, let's check in. What do you have on him?
broken clavicle to the right shoulder of Jesse Palmer, so he's out of this game and for some time to come. I watched that hit on his shoulder, which was high and didn't seem to bother him all that much, but when he came off the field, guys, that's when the separation of the bone came. So terrible injury for Jesse Palmer in Florida.
Wow. What else can happen to the Gators? Ed Chester, their starter at left defensive tackle, injured on the very first play tonight. He's gone. Here's the punt by Gibbs. Good coverage kick. And the ball is fumbled, and he touched it, and it went out of bounds inside the 10. Florida will scrimmage at the 8-yard line.
Ron, the good thing about the two-quarterback system is you got Doug Johnson, who's completed 41 of 73 passes, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he gets a chance to come off the bench now, was alternating every play before this ball game. You figure now he has got a chance to get hot and carry his football team.
Well, one thing's for sure, Mike, it is his football team now with the injury to Palmer. Here's the running play. Jackson, as a flag comes down from behind the play, and I'll tell you, well, I don't even want to suggest it. That could be holding from where from where the flag was thrown. And look at Spurrier. He knows that's what it could be. If that's the case, this is 2 huge runs that Jackson has had that have been called back.
During the run, holding against the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Again, fumbles, injuries,
penalties. Well, when you got bad field position for starters, and the second time they've had a big run, it's just brought it back with the penalty.
And Ron, where this flag comes, and this comes from the back judge. I mean, the flag hasn't been thrown yet. In the secondary.
Jackson with another running play, and he'll take it just shy of the 20-yard line. Green is the one who's holding on.
Terry Jackson rushed for 780 yards as a freshman. They moved him to fullback as a junior. As a running back, Coach Carl Frank says he'll do whatever you ask him to do to win for this football team. He's had 4 100-yard-plus games.
That's right. The only one that was not 100 was the Tennessee game. Hesitates, takes it across the 20, and he'll be tackled after a gain of 3. That's LeBlanc, who comes over to put the stop on him, and now it's going to be a 3rd down for the Gators, and they need to bring it out to the 29-yard line. 2nd down, that's right. The penalty was 1st down done over again, so that was the last. The 2 runs have been 1st and 2nd down. Kareem on the completion is tackled immediately. They're going to say to the 26, and let's check in again with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, Kansas State looking to try to take advantage of that loss by Nebraska, move up in the standings. Michael Bishop, this is a pretty pass. In stride, Aaron Lockett sets up a Brian Gouldsby touchdown. 10-0 K-State over Colorado.
I have a feeling that one could get ugly, Mike.
Kansas State, Michael Bishop, one of the best quarterbacks nobody knows about.
Florida 0 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. Jackson not only going to have the 1st down, he'll have it up close to midfield as Dunston was trying to run him down, but he couldn't match him step for step. That's 21 yards.
Ron, when you have a running back that can run with the football and can catch the football, it gives you so many advantages. This is Terry Jackson going to come out of the backfield, and he's going to work against the linebacker, Thomas Dunston, and that's no match. Good, safe throw by Doug Johnson. Terry Jackson moves the 1st down markers.
Actually, Jackson was very smart. He used the umpire as a screen there as well. Gillespie comes back into the lineup, number 20. Play action. Right, there's Gillespie right over the middle. Inside the 30-yard line as Dunston makes the tackle. This is the young man that they are very excited about. Catches well and can fly.
Ron, I believe this is against 2-deep zone right here and trying to sneak a back out of the backfield. This is Robert Gillespie, and they're going to run him down against 2 deep. Fake the draw to Terry Jackson. Now Robert Gillespie comes out of the backfield against that two-deep zone. Thomas Dunson makes the tackle. It's interesting, Robert Gillespie was at the LSU-Florida game as an LSU recruiting prospect last year from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
He and Jackson still in the backfield at the same time as Johnson zings the pass, got it complete at the 15, and that's McGriff.
You know, the other thing that comes to mind right now, Ron, is Doug Johnson had what a lot of people would refer to as a bad football game against LSU last year. And he wants to make amends for that in this ball game. Travis McGriff with a good completion, reception.
That's his dad, Lee. He just broke his dad's record. Zach Pillar, by the way, was fortunate he didn't get called for a hold on that last
Well, he's
play.
having trouble with Arnold Miller.
He had him in a good embrace. Right over the middle. Almost intercepted by Dunson. Hit him right in the hands.
Ron, you were talking about the play before. Zach Pillar having a hard time with Arnold Miller. So, again, little subtle things that you see in the press box that they put the tight end over here. Now to help on Arnold Miller. So they're going to get two people. They're going to get some people trying to block him. There they double him. So once you see somebody having a little bit of problem, nice little move by Steve Spurrier.
Second down. Johnson got it away, and they're going to say, no, he was down. And that is Jarvis Green, who tackled him at the just beyond the 25-yard line.
And that's what Lou Tepper wants to see. His front four getting pressure. Arnold Miller, Jarvis Green. When you get a front four getting pressure on the quarterback, you don't have to spend linebackers and secondary people to try to get heat on the quarterback. They've been getting quarterback pressure out of Jarvis Green, Arnold Miller.
Well, they've sacked him twice for 27 yards. Intercepted by LeBlanc. Nope. They said hit the ground and he trapped it. I beg your pardon.
What a bad throw by Doug Johnson.
He's made two on this end of the field, Mike.
Bad throw. A three-man rush by LSU. Coverage. Dropping 8 in coverage. There's no place to go with the football. Doug Johnson, very fortunate, didn't get that one picked off.
So Chandler's going to attempt a distant field goal. This is going to be a 43-yard attempt. His career long is 28. Gators lead it 6-3, trying to extend that. Good pass, and it was wide right. So something you don't hear very often in the swamp, but some scattered boos from this partisan house. As we have 6:31 left to play until halftime, and the LSU Tiger defense stops the Gators once again. Coach DiNardo with the body English. I don't know if it helped or not, but it was wide right. He was correct. Lots of time, gets it complete, and it's Booty again. Tyler is doing a nice job in the pocket. They are moving him in the pocket, which helps. But he is so poised there, he seems to be unflappable. And that's after he got shaken up back in that last quarter.
What made that play, Ron? Good throw by Herb Tyler, but Abram Booty came back to the ball. He ran his route, was covered, came back to the football, made that catch, his 5th of the night.
No, the coaches told him it could be one that he might cut out the article in the paper and put on his bulletin board because Foster's injured and they're going to look to him a lot tonight. That running play by Mealy goes for short yardage. Rutledge cut him down. Also, Grady came up in the secondary to help finish him off. Going to spot that just short of the 35.
Tough defense to run the football against. Front seven may be the best front seven in college football.
When the crowd comes to life. asking this defense to put up a wall. It's third down about a yard and a half. Tyler, he is going to make it on a second and a third effort as Keith Kelsey really took him down hard. And the Gators have a player shaken up, and Tyler is still down.
They had a shot at him for a loss, but Herb Tyler again shows you the veteran leadership that he gives this LSU football team. A run all the way, Bacon to Kevin Falk over the top.
It's Kearse who missed him first.
Another miss by Tim Beauchamp.
Well, Tyler's okay, but since they came out to attend to him, he will have to go to the bench for a play.
It'll be another handoff.
Yeah, they could put 11 at the line of scrimmage right now, couldn't they? Craig Nall will come in to take this snap. Rondell Mealy is the tailback. Little counter tray. Boy, nothing doing. And Johnny Rutledge says, you're not coming my way. And you could see Kearse was right there behind him.
And that's what Florida was thinking, too. They had everybody up for a run.
You know, an interesting thing also that happened this past week. Coach Spurrier was very hard on this team after that game up at Alabama. And he pointed to the defense and he said, I want more number 2 players playing. But if they're not carrying out their assignments, they can't play. 6 hurries, 2 sacks, and 7 hits on Tyler. Rutledge, we had him for 8 tackles in the first half. Booty makes the catch. The flag is down at the line of scrimmage. And Abram took a really hard shot off balance. Cromartie took him out. But let's check the marker.
Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Ron, what happened on this was they went to an unbalanced line, and one of the wide receivers didn't step up because Abram Booty was off, and this wide receiver needed to step on the line of scrimmage to give him the required number.
So it was Robinson who didn't step up. By the way, to further that point, Bob Stoops even said, if those numbers said, we want to play more people, but the number 2s have got to learn their assignments.
Just making too many mistakes.
Falk. He's going to take it back to around the 40-yard line as Gerald Warren, another one of the number 2s on defense, is in the ball game, giving a regular a breather. That's McGrew that he's given a chance to rest.
Nice play call again to slow down the rush of Florida. Just a little quick screen to Kevin Falk, getting him outside to run with the football.
Well, I think Mo Watts has done a nice job.
He really has.
When they have been in conservative territory, that's the way he's called it, but yet they have been efficient.
He's done a nice play calling job of keeping Florida's defense off balance.
Yeah. And also keeping their offense off the field, Mike. Tyler got his pass complete for the first down, and Tyler got racked again. Warren came in and hit him just as the pass was delivered. Tyler is really, this is as much of a beating as I've ever seen him take in an LSU game.
Well, after the Auburn game, they said that he took such a beating from the Auburn defense that they didn't run any plays with him running the football against Idaho. But you can see again the pressure of the Florida defense hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, McGrew and Warren sandwiching him. But it's a first down for the Tigers. Clock runs at 2:26 until halftime.
And they've spent all their timeouts.
Going to go on top. Looking for Foster. He's got it at the 5. And touchdown LSU. 51 yards. Again, folks, I go back to the play calling. They've used Booty. They've used him. They've used him. It was like Foster was a decoy because of the broken finger, and all of a sudden they sent him on a streak.
Morris Watts is calling an excellent ball game. A little play action fake and hitting the post.
Danny Boyd with the extra point attempt. He's got it. And with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left until halftime, our new score, the LSU Tigers 10 and the surprised Florida Gators 6. We'll be right back. Well, there's the man, Larry Foster, the junior out of Harvey, Louisiana, a 51-yard touchdown pass. Give him credit and also give his quarterback credit, who got killed on the play.
Well, Morris Watts, the offensive coordinator, is taking his shot against man coverage. Larry Foster against Robert Cromartie for the touchdown. And that's a great feeling when you call a play, a big play, to get your team up 10-6.
And as we had mentioned, Foster with a broken finger, they had decoyed with him, and Booty had been the man they had thrown to all night long, and all of a sudden they said, let's send him deep, and they did. Capel's going to have this one fall out of his hand. Let's check in once again with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, coming up on the Buick halftime report, shocker for Nebraska, down go the Huskers. We'll have the highlights from Tennessee and Georgia, plus the game day gang in Athens. That's coming up at the half.
Alrighty. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left here in Gainesville, Florida. It has been a half that Florida on the opening play lost their starting defensive tackle, Ed Chester. Then they lost their starting quarterback, Jesse Palmer, to a broken bone in his right shoulder, a broken clavicle. Johnson wins the pass, has it complete at the 32. The Florida has 2 timeouts left.
Ron, Lou Tepper, when we talked to him, I believe it was Thursday, he said he called around for the opponents of Florida that they played already this year and tried to get a scouting report on both quarterbacks, their views. Then he went back and looked at Steve Spurrier against zone coverage, the routes that he liked to run, figuring that he'd try to hit his zone on these routes. Wow.
Joe Wesley just dropped a touchdown. I mean, there was nobody close to Joe. And the senior out of Brookhaven dropped it. Watch this.
Well, Doug Johnson averts a tragic throw here because he threw it right to Joe Wesley for the 6 points, but Joe Wesley couldn't hold on. Every day in practice, you work drills with your linebackers. Throw them the ball so that they catch those interceptions.
Terry Jackson, little drag route over the middle, got him complete, and he's out to the 50-yard line on a first down. They don't have to use the timeout.
This is a good play because you're working Terry Jackson against the linebacker. Now it's Charles Smith in there. Last year versus LSU, 4 interceptions. And all talk this week was some of the Florida players talking about they remember the LSU fans tearing down the goalposts.
Johnson just too tall for Travis Taylor.
This is what's called a smash route, Ron. What you have is a corner, and you got Travis McGriff in the flat. And Travis McGriff was wide open in the flat. He was the easy throw for Doug Johnson, but he tried to put it in there to Travis Taylor, and just an incompletion.
So it's second down. Short drop this time, and a quick out pass. Jackson, and this is Darrell Jackson. Ball is loose. LSU is recovered at the 48-yard line. Johnny Mitchell with the recovery for the Tigers.
They just can't get anything going. They can't sustain it. Fumbles have been, as you look at the turnover picture here, the same route, a smash route on the other side. Darrell Jackson with the catch, trying to get more yardage, gets the ball stripped. Joe Wesley in there. Clarence LeBlanc.
I think maybe LeBlanc knocked that ball out of there. But another Florida turnover. Pressure on Tyler. He's going to have to run. And is going to be tripped up. That's a nice open field tackle by Collins.
And Herb Tyler again shows you he avoided the sack for a 10-yard loss.
Beauchamp is the one who forced the play, forced him out of the pocket.
This is where LSU, they spent their timeouts.
And this hurts him right here.
They're at 1:03 on the clock.
Jesse Palmer headed to the locker room early. Broken clavicle. So 2 starters lost tonight by the Florida Gators. Big opening up the middle. Far inside the 40, and Peterson holding on for dear life, and Kevin was by everybody for 13 yards before they could turn around.
Well, they have just shocked this Florida football team on both sides of the ball. Kevin Falk shows tremendous quickness tonight, taking that football.
For the end zone, and it's too far as they go into the hedges. And I mean the crowd. Al Jackson just
hold out there.
Al Jackson, number 71, Ron, he had a takedown.
I tell you what, but
everybody viewed it.
Oh boy, watch it right there.
Right here, he's got a hold of.
That's Warren.
Gerald Warren.
Yeah. Tell you, there are some guys at some dance clubs in the state doing two-step tonight that aren't holding their honey that close. Whoa. Well, but Al was protecting his quarterback, so he did, and the flag went down, and the penalty pushes it back to the 46. 21 seconds left until halftime. And LSU is just going to do the smart thing, give it to Falk, let him see if he can break one open and just run the clock down. Peterson again on the tackle. Those linebackers have made a lot of stops tonight. In fact, to back up Mike's point, just the whole front 7, everybody has forced the issue.
And Ron, Steve Spurrier has to find a way to settle his football team down. They're playing like a nervous football team.
It is halftime here in the Swamp, and there are some surprised folks in this 85,000 plus, because our score at halftime is the LSU Tigers 10 and the Florida Gators 6. Now with the Buick halftime report, let's rejoin Larry Beal. Larry?
Thanks, Ron. Let's get right to it. Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Red Raiders wondering, how can we be 5-0 and still unranked? Rob Peters to Donnie Hart. And Texas Tech leading 14-10 as they approach halftime. The Buick halftime report is coming up. Nebraska ambushed today in College Station. Plus Tennessee and Georgia. Could the Vols win without their star running back? We're coming right back. Welcome to the Buick halftime report. I'm Larry Beal. We're calling this Shakedown Saturday. For Nebraska, it turned out to be Takedown Saturday. The last time Nebraska played Texas A&M, it was in the conference title game a year ago, Big 12 title game. The final score, 54-15 Huskers. It was a rout. It was never even close. The Aggies did not forget. Tight end Dan Campbell saying, and I quote, "It hurts your pride when you get slaughtered like we did." They're looking for payback, a little revenge. Third quarter, Nebraska down 14-7. Bobby Newcomb looking. Ball comes loose. Warwick Holdman recovers for the touchdown. 21-7, Texas A&M thinking upset. Huskers coming back. Joel Makovicka, fullback, 9-yard run. 28-21, under a minute to go. 3rd and 15 for Nebraska. Looking for that tying touchdown. Newcomb picked off by Cedric Curry. The Curry is hot and flavorful. Down the stretch, Frank Solich is bumming. R.C. Slocum is pumped. The biggest upset of the day, 28-21 A&M, so cancel those Fiesta Bowl reservations for the Huskers. Dante Hall and Jamar Toombs, both over 100 yards rushing for the Aggies. Here's what R.C. Slocum had to say about this.
This is a great win for everybody involved with A&M football. Our fans turned out today in maroon and marooned out, and our team showed up ready to play.
Dat, yesterday, our crew asked you, what would paradise be? Is this it?
It's right now, baby. It's right now.
Big win for Dat win. Kansas State trying to take advantage of Nebraska's upset. They're playing Colorado. Mike Machete fumbles. Darren Howard recovering for the Wildcats. Next play, Michael Bishop. And this is pretty. This is the way you throw a pass. The bomb. Aaron Lockett. 44-yard reception 3 plays later. Sets the table for Brian Goolsby. Touchdown. 10-0 Kansas State. Kansas State, this is their first real encounter with a big-time team, although the Bucks 5-0, maybe not as good as the number 14 ranking would lead you to believe. We move on. Tennessee and Georgia, battle of top 10 teams. T. Martin, touchdown pass to Cedric Wilson. 15-3 Tennessee in the third quarter. Remember, they don't have Jamal Lewis, their star running back, out for the season. So Martin's got to go to the air more. Peerless Price slashing in. 22-3. Vols. Their defense was awesome. 4th and 10. Georgia getting sneaky here. Champ Bailey's going to throw it. Intercepted by Deion Grant, who would take it back on a long run to the 27-yard line. Tennessee would win it by a final of 22-3. So the Vols stay unbeaten. They should have clear sailing to the SEC title game as they'll dominate the East. Filling in for the injured Jamal Lewis, the 2 Travises, Henry and Stevens, combined for 160 yards rushing. Now, here's how they won the game. Tennessee with D. You're looking at Georgia's offensive stats. They were able to amass only 3 points. The Dogs came in averaging almost 30 per game. Quincy Carter, the Q, the fantastic freshman quarterback, held to 14 of 37 passing. Florida State and Miami. First quarter, Scott Covington finding his tight end, Daniel Franks, wide open. Canes even at 7 apiece with Florida State. Chris Wenke throwing up his back foot to Marvin Minnis. Defenders were there, but didn't know the ball was coming. 14-7 Knowles. Wenke looking for Peter Warwick. This game was a wipeout last year, 45-0. Much closer this time as Warwick, the reception would set up a touchdown. Canes improving, but can't topple the 9th-ranked Knowles 26-14. Chris Wenke threw for 316. Warwick, 7 catches, 190 yards. Remember that 6-pick disaster against NC State? Wenke since then, 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. We put football on pause for a moment, turning to the baseball playoffs now. And if you're the Braves, basically must win. Next best thing to must-win situation, down 2-0 to the Padres. Game 3 NLCS. Bobby Cox looking on 2 out in the 5th in a 1-1 game. Ken Caminiti grounds a single to center, scores Steve Finley. Padres take a 2-1 lead. Padres bench a little bit nervous as they look on in the 8th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Trevor Hoffman blows away Javi Lopez. 4-1 the final. You just know they were singing Hell's Bells at the Murph, 65,000. And San Diego on the verge of sweeping the mighty Braves. They lead it 3-0 in the series, and the Yankees and Indians 1-0 New York. Paul O'Neill, a solo homer in the 3rd. The Game Day Gang, live in Athens, putting the day in perspective when we come back.
Welcome to a deflated Athens, Georgia. A little different scene than we saw 9 hours ago. A big-time reality check for a Georgia team that looked a little tight, played a little young today against a Tennessee team that won with old-school SEC football. Strong running, good kicking, a smothering defense. That's 2 big SEC games now, twice as an underdog, 2 victories, and T. Martin credited a televised pep talk.
We thought about in the hotel, we were seeing on ESPN and on TV that the Vols were going to lose, and that made us come in with a mindset that we can't lose, you know. What can we lose? Everybody's expecting us to lose, so let's go in and win.
When you say blue collar, you know, you say mental toughness, you say character, you say heart, you say fight. You know, I've seen this in this team since January.
Fulmer always takes the high road, but you want to talk about a satisfying month, beat Spurrier and the Gators, and then Donna and the Dogs within a month. Talks about that defense. The Vols defense has not gotten enough credit. We watched it on the field today, just tremendously athletic. And now in the last 3 games, that's against Houston, Auburn, and now Georgia, only 1 touchdown allowed on a total of 19 points. They are stuffing the run, guys. They are getting after the quarterback, and Quincy Carter made to look like a little bit of a freshman today from that pressure.
Yeah, Tennessee set the tempo defensively very early in the game. Their front 7 was everywhere. Secondary did a good job. Very clear. Their idea was to put pressure on Quincy Carter after the week he had last week. Seemed like they were in the backfield all day long. They came up with 2 sacks. They hurried him all day, putting him on his back. And As you can see, you got to give credit to people like Sean Ellis, Al Wilson, everybody in that front seven did a great job. I want to give Tennessee's defensive coaches also a game ball, kind of, because the way they put this game plan together and the players went out and executed. As Steve mentioned, nobody gave them a chance. They lose Jamal Lewis. They come into a hostile environment after Georgia had the big win. Congratulations to Tennessee. Well-deserved, and you look big time.
They lost Jamal Lewis, but they got back the key to that defense, Al Wilson. Al Wilson is the best linebacker I've seen play this year, and that includes Andy Katzenmoyer of Ohio State. I'll tell you what, Wilson, Tennessee, they're going to be hard to beat. He's a great football player, Al Wilson.
Tennessee has been disrespected by the polls. They dropped last week when Nebraska did not. Well, Nebraska's out of there now. Bowl championship series takes a hit there.
We got a long way to go. I'll tell you right now, Ohio State is the team that everybody's talking about, clearly the team. After that, you got to put Tennessee right now at number 2. And then after that, we'll find out what happens later. But Tennessee is clearly the number 2 team after the teams they've beaten.
Well, you got to remember one thing also. Kansas State and UCLA are both excellent football teams, both playing good teams tonight. They could be in there with Tennessee as the second team in the country if they both win.
Got to win tonight.
A shakedown Saturday, shake-up Saturday, indeed. That's it from Athens. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, thanks, Chris. You know, you talk about Tennessee being unbeaten. There is one other team in the Southeast Conference that is still perfect, unblemished. Arkansas, Sioux Razorbacks, 23-9 over Memphis. So the Hogs and Vols, both perfect so far. Last time Arkansas started 5-0 was 1989. Tim Couch and Kentucky leading South Carolina at the half, 17-14. Mississippi State beats Auburn 38-21, and bad news for Auburn. They're 1-4 for the first time since 1951. Gulf next week. They're at Florida. Alabama wins in overtime on a field goal by Ryan Flugner, 20-17 to beat Ole Miss. Sean Alexander ran for a $125 and a touchdown. Vanderbilt, still winless, 0-5, beaten by Western Michigan. Brad Sellant, a 37-yard field goal as time expired. Welcome back to the Buick Halftime Report. Texas running back Ricky Williams, he better be fast. He's trying to chase down Charles White and Herschel Walker and Tony Dorsett. Today, Williams wearing the number 37 uniform of Doak Walker. Texas and Oklahoma. Walker, of course, befriended Ricky Williams at the Doak Walker Awards ceremony. Unfortunately, the former NFL great passed away a couple of weeks ago. And there is Ricky barreling into the end zone on a 20-yard touchdown, 7-3 Texas. 17-3 in the third quarter. Major Applewhite, the bomb to Wayne McGarity. 97-yard touchdown, longest in school history on a pass play or run play for that matter. 24-3 Longhorns. The Major had 3 touchdown passes, and Williams taking the handoff, sailing into the end zone, had another long run called back. 34-3 is the final. Williams rushes for 139 yards and 2 TDs as he moves past Herschel Walker, now 3rd all-time on the NCAA career rushing list. Missouri beats Iowa State 35-19. Devin West, who's number 3 in the nation rushing, 40 carries, 252 yards. Ohio State and Illinois, top-ranked team in the country, the Buckeyes. Joe Germain to David Boston, splits the seam, he's gone. Ohio State, 3 first-half touchdown passes. The defense, Kurt Kittner, the freshman quarterback, coughs it up. Niall Diggs, who said Illini freshman would be fresh meat, says thank you very much into the end zone. Ohio State cruises 41-0. Joe Germain, at some point, he may get into the Heisman discussion if the Buckeyes keep winning. Throws for 307 and 3 touchdowns. Purdue and Wisconsin just underway on the deuce. No score in the first quarter. We're coming right back with more of the Halftime Report. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., NFL Countdown, best preview show in the business. Special guest joining the gang. Bucks linebacker Hardy Nickerson in the studio. Then at 7:30, every highlight, every score, NFL primetime. We got another score. USC just scored R.J. Soward, an 80-yard punt return as the Trojans lead the Cal Bears 31-10. Third quarter action is coming up.
Our score at halftime, 10-6. Mike Godfrey, the total conversation down in the press box at halftime. Why? But Florida was playing very tentatively, like they didn't want to make an error.
Well, it's almost like they're waiting for something to happen rather than make something happen. I think Steve Spurrier tried to settle his football team down a little bit and go to Doug Johnson and expect him to come out and perform very well in the second half. But the LSU defense has been the story of the first half. The sacking of Jesse Palmer. Here he gets sacked. Then Arnold Miller comes back and gets him from the blind side. Joe Wesley, a three-man rush, which a lot. Lou Tepper has gone to a three-man rush, dropping 8 players. Joe Wesley missed an excellent opportunity for an interception there, but they stopped the Florida offense.
Well, there are the numbers in the first half. And, Mike, what sticks out at you most?
Well, I think the fact,
the same.
Yeah, again, Florida not being able to run the football. We expected LSU to have a problem, but total yards, 222 yards by LSU. Penalties, turnovers, everything's about equal, but it has been a ball game that Florida has played very, very nervous.
Well, the lowest halftime total under Spurrier. Capel with the...
He's got a lane here.
Boy, does he ever, and this one can motor. Out over the 45, the 50, and finally pushed out of bounds. They're going to mark it down at the 40-yard line. Let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Well, Ron, what they talked about in the Florida locker room is exactly what we just saw. For the first time as they came out of their training room, I got the feeling of a sense of urgency from the Gators. They talked about a lot of things. The reputation of the Swamp, the 50-2 home record since 1990. Specifically, this falls on the offense now on Doug Johnson. Remember, last year in this game against LSU, he got in trouble trying to read the signals in from Steve Spurrier. He's got to pay attention to that from now on.
Terry Jackson, the ball carrier. You could see the last time that Florida trailed at halftime here in the Swamp was 1995 against Tennessee.
And, Ron, here's where they've had problems with this LSU defense. And, again, I give Lou Tepper credit. He's changed a little bit. He's rushing 3, dropping 8. He's knocking receivers off their routes. They've done a very good job of changing up coverages. The 3-man rush again against Doug Johnson. He's going to drop 8 in coverage.
Sings his pass complete. That's McGriff. And he will take it quickly inside the 20-yard line to the 17.
Ron, when you do this, when you get a 3-man rush, if you block it well, and they did do a good job of blocking the defensive line of LSU, it's a 3-man rush. You got a lot of time now. A little stun inside here, but good time for Doug Johnson to wait for Travis McGriff to open. And he shows a good, strong arm throwing that curl route.
Good for 18 yards to McGriff.
Steve Spurrier was out on the field, and I think one of his wide receivers had to be on the line of scrimmage.
Showed us a timeout. 13:41 left, third quarter. We'll be right back. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. And by Transamerica. The people in the pyramid are working for you. Johnson from the 17. Tipped away at the last moment by Dunson.
Boy, he was looking for Travis McGriff all the way. Thomas Dunson just read the eyes of the quarterback, Doug Johnson, because he did not look off at all. He was looking to Travis McGriff, waiting for him to open on the post route. They've had success down here, Ron. Terry Jackson catching the ball out of the backfield against the linebackers.
Good protection. He forces this one in, a tipped and almost intercepted. Doug Johnson tonight, Mike, that is 4 passes that rightfully show, so he should have had intercepted tonight. He has really made bad decisions.
He's trying to force things in there. He had Terry Jackson open right over the middle, but he tries to get the ball to Nafis Kareem.
And for Florida fans saying, you know, what about the contact? Once the ball is tipped, all interference is off. 8-4 for Doug Johnson, 113 yards. So now it's third down, and they need to take it to the 7.5. Got this one inside the 10. Terry Jackson tackled by Rayon Hill. Now decision time.
Ron, the previous play, Terry Jackson was open over the middle. Now that was the play call to try to get the ball to Terry Jackson. See him sitting right here. He's wide open, and Doug Johnson tried to force it in. They came right back with the next play to get the ball to Terry Jackson.
Fourth down, and they'll go for it. They need about 2.5 yards.
I keep working Terry Jackson.
Wide open over the middle. Touchdown. Aaron Kenny, his tight end. Chandler to attempt the extra point. So the Florida Gators have come out of the locker room and ignited this crowd with a long opening kick return. And now with this touchdown pass, and it's Aaron Kenny, the tight end. Well, the worst thing that could happen to LSU is the crowd has been reignited.
Ron, that whole series was built around Terry Jackson and what he did. He only caught the ball one time, but he opened up receivers for the touchdown.
1 yard deep, the next melee. Wow, what a special teams play. And that is Teddy Sims, a reserve weak side linebacker, a sophomore out of Belle Glade, and he got around the wedge.
Well, Adrian talked about the halftime adjustments, and he talked about Steve Spurrier talking about the challenge of protecting your home field, and that's exactly the way Florida has come out on offense and special teams. Now it's the defense's turn.
This is the worst start for LSU tonight, field position-wise. Inside their own 15. Tyler's got Booty at the 27. He'll take it to the 29. Well, Peterson defensively, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Abram Booty just does a nice job of pushing off here and getting a separation to get open on the curl. Good play action fake by Herb Tyler. Mike Peterson making the tackle, but a good quiet the crowd call.
Booty now with 6 receptions on the night. Had 5 in the first half for 71 yards, his longest 24. Nothing doing on this running play. Derek Chambers comes across on Kevin Falk. It will nail him for a loss.
Well, Derek Chambers in the ball game because of Ed Chester. It makes a play in the backfield. Again, the handoff is taking a little time, Ron, and you see the penetration at Florida's defensive line. They're 4 yards up the field.
McGrew has just come out, and Gerald Warren, number 61, is in replacing him.
Which would set up a fullback trap. That's a possibility.
Tyler running for his life. Chambers will make the tackle, and it was Beauchamp who forced it and forced him up into the pocket.
Yeah, Beauchamp is in the backfield again, beating the right tackle, getting pressure on Herb Tyler, not getting him a chance to set.
So third down, and the LSU, to keep it going, needs to take it out to their own 39. Florida 13, LSU 10. About to go under 11 minutes to play, third quarter.
They got him again offside.
Yep, they were going to wait and see who the call comes against. I saw the left tackle flinch. But now whether that's who was flagged, because that play should have flagged it before the snap came,
again,
shouldn't it?
Yes. Herb Tyler must be using a good voice inflection, trying to draw this Florida defensive front off.
Offside, 5 yards, still third down.
Penalties have hurt. Number 55, Willie Cohen's He's pointing to the tackle, just like you had talked about. You'd seen the tackle flinch. He pointed to him, but a lot of times defensive linemen, when they jump offside, is going to point at somebody because they don't want to take the fall.
That's right. So they get a reprieve. Third down, and now about 4 yards. Fingertips of Faulk. Ooh, my goodness. Probably one that he should have held on to. Grady was out there with it.
An option route, and Herb Tyler put it right on the money.
To Corby Gibbs, up to him to get away a good kick. McGriff is back deep and is dropped off to inside his own 30-yard line. Good coverage kick. Very high, turning over. Fumbles the ball. And gets on it back inside the 10-yard line. Chris Cummings with a great job of coverage.
Ron, let's take a look at the last drive that Florida scored on and watch Terry Jackson, how he affected this drive. Out of the backfield, he's open, but they don't throw him the football. Doug Johnson tries to force the ball into Kareem. Incompletion. Come right back. Hit him out of the backfield against the linebacker. Big yardage. Came right back and used him as a decoy. He opens up the tight end for a touchdown.
50-yard kick, loss of 8 on the return, and Florida will run the football. And the man that Mike was talking about, Terry Jackson, who will take it out just across the 10. Let's check in with Larry Beal.
Thanks, Ron. Purdue and Wisconsin. Rare night game for the Badgers in Madison. Mike Samuel cutting it up. Forget the fumble. Touchdown, 7-3, Badgers over Purdue.
Second down, hit in the backfield, penetration by Johnny Mitchell, and Terry Jackson goes down, and that's going to be for a loss.
Both teams' defensive line have made some big plays in this ball game, and quiet so far in this ball game has been Anthony McFarland, the All-American, but I'm sure he's drawing double teams, and you can see him being double teamed right there, which opens up one-on-one for Johnny Mitchell, Jarvis Green, and Arnold Miller.
Third down, Florida. They need to take it out to the 21.5-yard line to keep this one going. McGriff at the 20-yard line, and it's good for the first down. LeBlanc was there on the cover, but not quickly enough.
Well, when you got to have it, you go to your sure-handed receiver. He came into this ball game third in the nation, averaging 140 receiving yards per game. Doug Johnson just hitting him on the quick slant. Travis McGriff for the first down. Steady player.
Yeah, we mentioned that he broke his dad's record with that second catch tonight, or tied it. Lucius Jackson has 10 and now 15 yards, and no flag on this one.
The difference in the ball game right now, Terry Jackson, the way he's come out in the second half, they're using him. He hurt now, but they're using him in pass receptions. They're using him running the football. He has opened up the game offensively for Florida.
9 carries, 56 yards. Means Gillespie will come into the lineup. This is Gillespie. Turns it up, and you see why they're excited about him. Boy, does he have some jets.
Ron, that is an excellent run, but you see, again, Aaron Kinney with a nice block, but Doug Johnson, you heard him say red 38, which had to be the outside zone to the right side. He saw a reduced area over there to attack the LSU defensive front. Again, the quarterback has to be smart to get him out of bad plays. He did that.
Clock about to go under 8 minutes to play. Third quarter, Florida by 3, 13-10. Draw play. Gillespie still dancing around, and he's going to cut it back into the middle for another first down as Allen will make the stop on him. I'll tell you, he could either give you the jets or he could give you the quick stop and go.
Well, he is impressive.
And let's check in with Adrian Karsten.
Ron, the speed at which Steve Spurrier and his backup quarterback are trying to get the signals into Doug Johnson is really amazing. One thing they learned from the Georgia tape earlier this week is that LSU is a cerebral kind of defense. They like to get up, take a look, and then react, but Florida's really on top of them fast here, Ron.
Gillespie, third straight carry, and he's going to be knocked down by Wesley, and also Mitchell was there, and this is his shortest carry in this series. He's only going to have about 3.
What Adrian's talking about, Ron, is that they're trying to get the line of scrimmage real quick. They're not huddling. LSU's waiting for their signal from the sideline. You can see them. They're a little slow getting lined up here, and that's what Adrian's talking about.
Johnson, deep drop, lobs it over the middle. There's Gillespie again, and he's tagged hard by Rayon Hill, but it is another Florida first down.
Well, when Steve Spurrier finds you bleeding a little bit, he's going to cut you a little bit more, and that's what he's finding right now, bringing his running back out of the backfield. This is Gillespie right here coming out of the backfield, making a catch. They haven't stopped that. He's working against linebackers. The zone drops are deep. And LSU having trouble with the back out of the backfield.
So it's first down. The line of scrimmage now, the 28. Outside pressure as Johnson steps up and delivers, and it's intercepted at the 10-yard line by Booker. A flag is down, and Booker trying to take it the distance, which he will. Let's see if the flag is LSU or Florida.
Defense, offside. 5-yard penalty.
Jerry DiNardo just heard Al Ford say defense offside, and you saw the defensive right end trying to get the jump, and that split second just cost them a 90-yard touchdown return with an interception.
Again, it's what you talked about earlier, Ron. Doug Johnson trying to fit balls in when they're not able to fit them in, and he gets away with another interception. I think I'd keep throwing to Robert Gillespie out of the backfield.
Oh, I was going to say, and I'm certainly not picking on Doug because he's a fine young athlete and quarterback, but he's got the forces tonight. He's just really trying to get passes in that don't fit. Eugene McCaslin comes into the backfield. Number 32, junior out of Tampa. He's going to take it to the 20. LeBlanc will put the stop on him. So it'll be second down and about 2 for the Florida Gators.
A lot of substitutions by Steve Spurrier. Again, not huddling. Terry Jackson on the sideline, injured. They need him back in the ball game. Not huddling. Trying to catch LSU a little slow coming out of the huddle.
Looks like they're retaping that left ankle.
Check off to a run here.
McCaslin breaks off a tackle. He'll take it to the 10. It'll be first and goal, Florida.
You know what I think happened on that play, Ron? I'm watching Doug Johnson. I think Steve Spurrier's calling the checkoffs from the sideline because Doug Johnson's getting to the line of scrimmage, and he's looking over to Steve Spurrier to see what he needs to check to. Check to a running play here, a draw with Eugene McCaslin. So I think Steve Spurrier's trying to help Doug Johnson with the automatics.
10 plays, 84 yards so far on this one. You can see almost 5 minutes consumed from the clock. McCaslin, little hop, step, and jump, and he's inside the 5, down to the 4. Rayon Hill will make the stop, but some nice blocking by that offensive front of Florida.
And Ron, this is where they had trouble last week against Alabama and Mike DeBose's team. 6 times inside there, 3 turnovers and 3 field goals. And Steve Spurrier, when he told us, he said, I've never had a game like that. He said, it just, nothing worked down there. And then finally, the last drive, we were going to run it in. We fumbled it in.
It is loose. Florida has recovered.
Anthony McFarland, Ron. They didn't block Anthony McFarland. He had a big shot at causing this fumble. He beat the snap in. And you get a little shaky when you fumble the ball down there a lot.
I'll tell you what, if they had fumbled that one from the 5-yard line, then they have had to take Coach Spurrier to the locker room.
Yeah. Booger McFarland in the backfield. They're going to take a timeout here.
So with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, Gators 13, the Tigers 10, and it is Florida who is threatening. We'll be right back.
With exactly 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter, Steve Spurrier has just reminded his offense, if we can't run it inside the 10-yard line, we don't belong down here. Throughout this week, he has claimed that his offensive line, after last week's game against Alabama, convinced him that once they get down in the red zone, especially inside the 10-yard line, yes, they can run it in. This is a gut check, Ron.
Well, Adrian, here are the numbers in the first half. Florida rushing, they attempted it 9 times for 18 yards. And this quarter alone, 11 rushes for 63. So maybe a little blocking scheme change at halftime, or certainly a talking to. Something has worked well.
Yeah, I think now what Adrian was talking about, running the ball, and they fumbled, they didn't block Booger McFarland. I think you've got to come in and try to throw it in right here. And when I see Doug Johnson, you know he's going to look for Travis McGriff. So LSU better defend number 3 on this play.
Mike, the interesting thing is, what is it? Do you grip it too hard? Or why is Florida? They have as good a collection of athletes as anybody in the country. And just like they fumbled, they stood a chance of losing another one in the red zone. I mean, what happens to a team?
You almost get so tight wanting it to happen that you make mistakes. And I said before at halftime that I thought this was a nervous football team, but they settled down, came out in the third quarter, and I think, again, Travis McGriff, to me, it's a throw right here. Doug Johnson trying to get the ball to Travis McGriff.
Well, it's the 13th play of the drive. 4 wide receiver set. See if LSU brings somebody. They probably will. And they have just gotten a delay of game penalty.
See what's happening. Doug Johnson is looking to Steve Spurrier. They try to get up to the ball fast enough so that they can look to the sideline, and if he'll give him the signal to go ahead and run the play or change it. And they just got up there a little bit faster. There he's saying, go ahead, run the play. Again, trying to call the play from the sideline after he sees the defense.
So third down and 12. Pass delivered and almost intercepted by Booker.
Wow. Tried to get it to McGriff. LSU's had some opportunities, Fred Booker, to pick that one off. Just trying to force the ball into Travis McGriff.
It's going to be a 30-yard attempt as Chandler will attempt this one from the right hash mark. He got it. I mean, he didn't get it by much, but it still counts 3. So the Florida Gators have scored for the second time in this second half. And our new score is 16-10.
Ron, he didn't make it by much, but he got it through. Knuckleball. There's a worn-out coach right there. He's trying his best to try to settle this offensive team down. He's starting to make the adjustments from the sideline, trying to help the quarterback.
Friday night fights on ESPN2. This week's main event, Israel Cardona against Golden Johnston in a junior welterweight bout. And more of our look back at the one and only Muhammad Ali at our Classic Fight segment. Plus news and analysis from your host, Brian Kenny and Max Kellerman, each week, 8 o'clock Eastern on Friday Night Fights. (16-10). The Florida Gators leading over the LSU Tigers. As you look at Falk, back deep, along with Neely. Taking it 4th and 3, and this is fought. Here comes the flag in from the far sideline, and now another one.
I think one of these is going to be on Florida.
Both flags were for illegal block against the kicking team. 15 yards, first down.
And let's check in with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, Purdue and Wisconsin, and Mike Samuel says, hey, who needs Ron Dane? I can do this myself. He's not exactly Carl Lewis, but he makes it in. 14-3 Badgers over the Boilers.
We're under 4 minutes to play in this third quarter. Tyler going to go on top. And this one is overthrown as they tried to get Foster out there again, working against Tony George, and nothing doing.
Better coverage that time. Ron helped with the free safety. Tony George on Larry Foster. Again, a blitz by the secondary. Robert Cromartie on the blitz, trying to heat up Herb Tyler on first down.
Dangerfield comes into the lineup, redshirt freshman, number 89, out of Morgan City, Louisiana. Well, it goes without saying there is more than a little bit of confusion on this play.
Yeah,
and now here comes a timeout.
Spend one here.
So let's take a break. 3:29 left to play, third quarter. Jesse Palmer back on the sideline. You can see his arm in a sling, broken clavicle. We're trying to get a report and find out how many weeks they think he will be lost. Crowd is really getting loud. It's a 2nd down and 10. Tyler's pass to Booty. Did he catch it? Yes. Inbounds. Now they're saying incomplete.
Ron, they've had success getting the ball to Abram Booty on the backside of a trips formation. They put 3 wide receivers to the front side, and they work him one-on-one on the backside against Tony George. Yeah, good call.
But see, this man right here is winding the clock. He's giving him credit for the reception. Who called it incomplete? That's my question. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with, but I mean, he was the guy who was standing 2 feet from the play. How can someone else 30 feet down the field make a better call? Never mind.
That's what Larry Foster's asking.
Well, I mean, doesn't it stand to reason that the guy who's standing next to it
great effort.
He gets tackled at the 50. Tico Brown really took him down hard, and it's good for 18 yards.
Good pressure by Javon Curse, the linebacker, number 42, on Herb Tyler. Gets by the left tackle, Lewis Williams, and then here's the throw to Foster. Excellent effort trying to get more yardage.
Boy, got turned to flip. 2 catches, 69 yards. One of those a 51-yard touchdown. Playing with a broken finger tonight. Here comes the option to the open side, and he's going to be dragged down at the line of scrimmage. Nice job by Beauchamp.
They had a mix-up. Florida had a mix-up in their alignment, and they're trying to get Javon Curse to go the other side here, and Beauchamp makes the play. Curse is in good shape. He's right where the play is going to come. They had him move, but Tim Beauchamp makes the tackle on Herb Tyler.
Beauchamp coming across quickly, but the offensive line is what drew him offside. And Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, let's go way back to the second play of this game when Ed Chester unfortunately got injured. And the instruction then to Tim Beauchamp, that defensive end, was to keep a shoulder to the inside. Always look inside, not only on runs like we just saw him make the stop there, but also on his pass rush, because the LSU offensive line has been giving him a little bit wider gap than they would normally to try and hook those guys when they run the option. So small adjustment for Beauchamp has really helped him out here.
Second down and 18. Tyler running for his life, and he's free. 45, gets outside at the 50, gets a pickup block, and is going to be pushed out of bounds. It's Booty who came back and helped him out, and Grady finally escorted him out of bounds.
Well, Ron, you're right. Booty came back and made a hit on Robert Cromartie. Again, Herb Tyler showing you his running ability, avoiding the 10-yard sack. Javon Curse puts the pressure on, gets a little too deep in the backfield. Herb Tyler steps up inside. Then he picks up some excellent blocks on the outside. There's one, then there's Booty's block.
Second longest run tonight by LSU. Third down, they need to take it to the 40 of Florida. They set up the screen, throws it high, and Clark gathers it in. And is going to be tripped up as he'll take it inside the 40 to around the 36. Mitchell defensively, Anthony Mitchell.
Well, on the other side of the field, Ron, Morris Watts has hit this screen about 3 or 4 times in key situations when he expects a blitz, lets him come through. Kevin Falk just sits there, picks up the screen, and picks up a first down. So Terry Jackson on the other side, Kevin Falk, the receiver out of the backfield for LSU.
Number 55, Cohen's coming back into the lineup. He's been the penetration guy. He's one who has given LSU some problems. Tyler sets deep, going to go long. Looking for Booty, and intercepted by Tico Brown of the Florida Gators.
In center field perfectly. Sitting right here, but he'll break for the ball as soon as he sees Herb Tyler's head go. And makes that interception. Nice center field play. Tony George one-on-one with Abram Booty, and there's the interception by Tico Brown.
Both players came down on George. You can see George gets the brunt of this one from his teammate, and he was very slow in coming off the field. Gillespie is the setback behind Johnson. He'll get the handoff. You see the cut block for him. Comes it upfield, and it's going to be a gain of over 10 yards for him again. Boy, he's not big, but he is very quick.
He has excellent speed. Ryan Kalick, the left guard, number 51, was the person the guard that made that chop block that you were talking about that opened up Robert Gillespie.
Gillespie, 35 yards, 5 attempts. Gillespie to the right side. You can see Cooper Carlisle out there trying to block the hit, and Doug Johnson comes back and tries to help his running back. Finally stopped at the 31. And I can promise you the offensive coaches are thinking right now, Doug, we've already lost our starter tonight. We don't need to lose number 2.
No, just get in the way. Don't try to block him.
And it was McFarland he was trying to block.
Doug Johnson's going to pick up a block. Robert Gillespie's going to retreat here. And he tried to pick off Booger. Number 94.
Oh, my. That could have been the last play of the third quarter. Clock is running down quickly. Oh, they get the snap off, and the quick out pass. Jackson, and Darrell Jackson will take it for a gain of a couple. And when we open play in the fourth and final quarter, it's going to be a third down and about 8 yards for the first down. So that is the end of 3. Let's take a break. Our score is 16-10. The Florida Gators leading the LSU Tigers. we're back 16-10 as we get set for the final 15 minutes of play between the LSU Tigers and the Florida Gators. Johnson, go route, just overthrew Nafis Kareem, and wow, just a little shorter on that one at 6.
He had what he wanted, Ron. Nafis Kareem, a parade All-American out of high school, fifth-year senior going into the spring. Steve Spurrier said, you got to do it now. And he's had an excellent spring and a fall, but just overthrew him.
Only the 4th punt of the night for Florida. Wazalewski waits for the snap back at the 19-yard line. Falk is the deep man for the Tigers. Good coverage kick. Very good one. Falk back to the 21. Gets by one man. Has 5. Has about 8 yards. That's all he could get. And the LSU Tigers will take over with decent field position. Now, the latest edition of ESPN Magazine is on the newsstands now. Look for Randy Moss on the cover. Plus, check out college football section featuring profiles of Georgia's Quincy Carter, Kentucky's Tim Couch, and the recruiting battle over quarterback Chris Sims, some of former NFL star Phil Sims, all in the current ESPN Magazine. Pitch back goes to Falk, gets a block and turns the corner and is going to take it out to the 37-yard line before Tico Brown will make the stop on him.
And he got a nice block from Larry Foster, but I think Larry Foster got hurt on the block on the option.
Yeah, it looks like it. He is
did a nice job on the outside tying up the corner.
Both of these teams have sustained a lot of bumps and bruises. Florida has lost 2 of their starters for a while. Big opening. And flags are down all over the place.
Almost looked like the snap was late on that play.
Yeah, like everybody else moved, and the ball didn't come out.
Movement by the offensive line. 5 yards. Still second down.
Let's check in with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron. Cal coming back on USC. They were down 21 points. Justin Vetter, the lefty, rolls out. A.J. Kunkel. 31-25. Trojans hanging on fourth quarter.
LSU with the second down, and they need to take it out to the 39-yard line to pick up the first. Tyler, lots of pressure, and he's going to be knocked down by Chambers.
Tim Beauchamp was the first one, Ron, that got him moving, and then Derek Chambers made the tackle. But Beauchamp, again, coming from the outside, initially put his hands in the face of Herb Tyler.
Beauchamp has had a really outstanding night. A senior from Oak Hill, Florida. Chambers, as we mentioned, coming in replacing Ed Chester, who broke his kneecap back on the very first play of the game. Chambers, a sophomore out of Lawndale, North Carolina, has filled in very nicely. Pressure. That's Javon Kearse who's after him. And Tyler will fall down back at the 12-yard line. Chambers again as Kearse got there first, and then Chambers ran him down.
Well, they've had heat on him all night, Ron. Herb Tyler's run for his life. Pressure as you look at it. Go ahead.
10 hurries, 3 sacks, 18 hits, and 2 interceptions. McGriff is back deep. Corey Gibbs, 2 yards deep in his end zone. Fair catch is called for, and is made at the 50. So there's a break in the action following that 38-yard punt. 16-10, Florida. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by the new 1999 TL. Luxury, performance, pick 2. Alpha Tau Omega here on the Florida campus. Steve Spurrier's fraternity house during his days as a student. In fact, that's where he met Jerry, his wife, and she became his ATO little sister. First down from the 50. Quick pass. That's actually a lateral, and he can throw, and he's got his man wide open. That's Taylor, and Taylor will score. So Travis McGriff takes the lateral, the pass, or the ball thrown away from the line of scrimmage, meaning he could throw it downfield, and he did, to Travis Taylor, and the sophomore from Jacksonville credited with a 50-yard touchdown. Extra point is blocked at the line of scrimmage, hit the goalpost, and is no good.
Ron, you always like when you get the ball around the 50-yard line, if you are going to call a gimmick play and you practice them, and if the ball's on the right hash around the 50, you call it, and this is a perfect play for Florida to call here, to throw out. You mentioned it, a lateral. Travis McGriff leads it right down the field for Travis Taylor, touchdown.
Travis Taylor, one of those I mentioned back in the first half, the number of great athletes they have at wide receiver. And Travis Taylor, one of those, a real flyer out of Jacksonville, and he showed that nobody was going to catch him. And look at this, Doug Johnson and Travis McGriff, as Travis is congratulated on throwing his first touchdown pass of the year. So he broke his dad's record tonight in receiving, and now has thrown a touchdown pass. And this gentleman here has to be feeling a little bit easier, because he has had some tough moments tonight as Jesse Palmer looks on, and he is gone for several weeks with a broken clavicle. Here's what happened to Palmer in the second quarter, in case you've missed it. He comes down in this stop play, and he comes down very hard on the right shoulder. Taken to the locker room, and the x-ray show it is a broken clavicle. Chandler to kick it off. Falk and Mealy back at a dual safety. It's on the ground and picked up by Cleveland. One of the up backs, and he'll put him in decent field position around the 32-yard line. Alexander on the special teams, making the stop for Florida.
I think probably Florida offsides on the kickoff.
The kicking team, be a 15-yard penalty in the previous spot.
Yeah, you want them to kick this one over again. Stand to get really good field position out of this. So, you know, it's like every time this man gets to breathe a little easier and maybe smile about things that are going on, he gets an extra point blocked and then has 12 men on the field. So his special teams on back-to-back plays, you know, don't do good.
Now, 9 penalties, and usually when you go out, your personal protector or your kicker counts your players to make sure you don't have too many on the field.
Let's don't look and see who counts, because he's not good at it, whoever did it on the last
play. We're going to change his responsibilities. LSU got a chance here to get great field position.
Well, they really do. And the thing is, they've been kicking the ball, they've been knocking it line drive, so Falk doesn't get it. But here they're going to have to kick it off, and a chance for either he or Mealy to.
And their kicking game has been suspect tonight, talking about Florida. Some missed extra points.
But their coverage on the kicks has been good. This is coming down. to Falk at the 17. Breaks the tackle, and here he goes. And that's going to be a face mask. You could add on another 15 yards. Neely, I beg your pardon. Mike, they're going to get fantastic field position. If this is a major penalty, it's going to take it inside the Florida 40-yard line. Depends on if they call personal foul or incidental.
Yards,
wow.
personal foul, face mask.
So,
first down.
This has been a mistake-prone kickoff.
Special teams. It's Chandler.
Yeah, it's a kicker. Wow, you give him the ball on the 38-yard line. Give him a chance to get back in this football game. LSU needs to seize the opportunity.
Small opening on the right side as George will come up and make the tackle on Falk. And it's good for a gain of about 3. So let's see if LSU can take advantage of what has been a gift by the Florida special teams. Florida now leading this one by 12 points, 22-10, but a missed extra point, a second one on the night. It was blocked in the middle. And now back-to-back 15-yard penalties. Falk, big opening, has 5, has 10, and he is flipped down at the 21-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 15 yards in the play as Tico Brown stopped him from heading to the end zone.
Kevin Falk looks like he's getting stronger as the game goes on here, carrying the football. Opened up a good-sized hole on that right side of the offensive line behind Winey and Thomason.
This time they go to the left. And Falk behind his blocker, still pumping away inside the 15. He's to the 13. Grady from his strong safety spot. And again, Thomasy with an outstanding block as we check it again with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Ron, Kevin told me yesterday at the walkthrough here, he knew this is a game where he had to go, I have to use an overused phrase, north and south. Couldn't run laterally, east and west, because of the speed of the Florida defensive backfield and their linebackers. And a reminder, remember that drive that they had last week against Georgia? He got better inside the red zone. He finally ran out of gas close to the goal line.
Foster and Booty to the top of the screen, and they bring the blitz, and they run right into it. The ball comes loose, but the officials say he was down, and it's Mike Peterson who applied the hit on Falk. He really blasted him.
Ron, Mike Peterson's a former quarterback that led his team to a state high school championship. He visited Michigan and Clemson. He puts a real hit here. Nice stick on Kevin Falk. Adrian was talking about in the red zone, they had that 5-yard penalty against Georgia, and that kind of upset their offense. They never recovered from that.
Third down, and Tyler wants to call a timeout with the third down at about 2.5 yards, and we'll take it with a 9:15 left in the ball game. It is 22-10, the Gators. Well, the defense is trying to get them going here in the swamp as LSU runs into the band and student section in the north end of the stadium, which is newly enclosed as of just about, what, 4 years ago? Third down, line to make, the 11.5. Reggie McGrew fouled up everything.
Well, he did, too. He kept his pads square at the line of scrimmage. Number 92, Reggie McGrew, right here is going to make that contact. He beats the block of the offensive guard, Al Jackson. 2-down territory here to make it. You got one more shot. Herb Tyler's dangerous on the play-action pass.
Pitches it back to Falk. Looks for a block. He will not get it, and the Florida Gators will hold. We We see no markers on the field, and it looks as though Derek Chambers is the man who led the charge, along with Peterson, I believe.
On a toss sweep, and Al Jackson falls down, can't really get up to help him, but you see the pursuit. Keith Kelsey in there, and Mike Peterson. Really wasn't any place for Kevin Falk to go.
Look at this, Mike. Florida's back at the ball. LSU doesn't have their defense back to the line of scrimmage yet, and they snap it and run the play. Now, wait a minute. Doug Johnson is saying, we were set. Doesn't matter what they're doing, and it doesn't.
Yeah, they blew that whistle for play.
If this is an inadvertent whistle, Spurrier's going to go nuts. And that's exactly what it was. Good heavens.
You know what? Where they ran that play, they ran into all the LSU guys that were coming on the field.
Oh, my. What a bad error, though. Offense was set, defense running on the field, and an inadvertent whistle. This is Gillespie. He has become the man who is working with the football in the second half, and it's Mitchell down at the bottom of the staff.
You talk about Robert Gillespie. He's had to fill in since Terry Jackson's injury. A freshman, 5'9", 177. Here's LSU defensively coming in, and the ball was marked. And they didn't get on the field in time, and the whistle blew, stopping the play.
Gillespie, 7 carries, 39 yards. See the blitz off the corner, and he will make the tackle. Yeah, that's Mark Roman. You could see the free safety just crawling up, sneaking up to the line of scrimmage, and pow, then he comes up and is untouched.
Really, you got to credit Lou Tepper tonight. Now, he's changed up some things. He's blitzing from the secondary. He's caused Florida some problems. His players have dropped at least 3 interceptions that would have turned this game around. The offside penalty on the interception for the touchdown. So he really has got a good evening out of his defense.
Ball is fumbled, and now they're going to say Johnson's knee was on the ground. Doug got hit as he went on down the field, and they were blowing the whistle, and that's the reason he's upset.
It'll be a 4th down situation. They're going to force the punt. Al Ford calling his knee down. Doug Johnson, when he went down to pick up the football, his knee was down.
Wazalewski waits for the snap, 2 yards deep in his end zone. This is worst kick of the night, but picked up by Falk at the 45. And Falk gets belted out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and the Tigers have very good field position. So let's take a timeout. 6:13 left to play. Gators 22 and the Tigers 10. (22-10), and you can see just over 6 minutes to play is Doug Johnson over on the sideline talking with his head coach. Doug did not believe that he had possession when his knee was down, and when you look at this, see, now he has possession. Anyway, moot point. Poor kick by Florida, and LSU has it at the Florida 39-yard line. Going for it all, looking for Foster. A lot of pushing and shoving, but no flag, and there shouldn't have been. That was just good coverage and everybody going for the football. Tony George was out there trying to make the cover on Foster.
Rod Grady with good coverage, too. Kevin Falk picked up a block here because Bobby Stoops going to try to pressure Herb Tyler with an outside blitz, and Kevin Falk picked it up again, showing you an all-around player. Here's good coverage.
This is like a one-man route, isn't it, Mike? Or was Booty out short?
He was short.
Okay. But I didn't think there was anybody else.
Tony George running step for step.
Flag is down. The right tackle did flinch. There was movement from the defense and then the flinch, and we'll see who they call it on.
Before the ball was snapped, movement by the offensive line. 5 yards, still second down.
Mike Seat scored just a moment ago. Georgia Tech and NC State. Make your prediction. In a couple of weeks, we go to Atlanta, Georgia for Florida State at Georgia Tech. I think that may be a much better football game than what anybody wanted to believe earlier.
Georgia Tech getting better and better. Randy Edsel moved in there defensive coordinator-wise and add a little Jacksonville Jaguar defense, and it's helped them.
Tyler sets deep on second down, throws it complete at the 31. It's Reggie Robinson. Now it's going to be third down, and let's say about 2.5 yards to pick it up.
Back in that same situation they were the last series, they had the ball.
Jerry DiNardo.
He's starting to look at the clock, and he doesn't. I don't believe he's got any timeouts left either. Well, Florida had 12 men on the field, but he ran off, and then LSU moved. Lewis Williams, the tackle.
Before the ball was snapped, movement by the offensive line. 5 yards.
We have had a lot of penalties tonight. Here's the Florida player trying to get off the field, and the tackle moves. Has not been a crisp game on either side.
That's the 20th penalty. Florida has one timeout, LSU none. Tyler is sacked at the 47. And it looks as though it's going to be McGrew and Beauchamp, but it's 4 times that the Gators have gotten it.
Herb Tyler's had a night of pressure. They have come after him. Linebackers, defensive linemen have hit him. After he throws, he takes some hits. He's just had a night of being pounded by this Florida defense.
Herb is a tough kid, and he's shown it tonight. He's really had to be. Gibbs kick. This is McGriff, and he'll pick it up at the 7-yard line and then run out of bounds. Little mystery play. Well, coming up next week on ESPN2, check out the high-flying aerial attack of Kentucky. Tim Couch completed 70% of his passes with 19 touchdowns. Start the day with Wisconsin and Illinois at noon. Then at night, Clemson takes on Florida State. It is Kentucky at LSU for Baton Rouge. Plus, we'll have a Division I AA special for you. Norfolk State taking on Hampton at 3. Looking for a spot to run, and there's no place to go. Happy to say that Frazier's back in the lineup. He went out with a rib injury back in the first half, and number 40 has come back in to the lineup for Florida. So undoubtedly they taped him up or decided that it was not quite as serious as first anticipated.
Florida wants that clock to move, but they don't want to play too conservative here against this LSU defense. Got Gillespie, the freshman, at the tailback spot.
Gillespie hit at the line of scrimmage by Roman. And let's check in with Adrian.
Ron, one of the Florida players that is a bit more serious injury-wise than they expected is receiver Terry Jackson. Sprained to his left ankle. Now, they did retape and put more ice on it, but he couldn't put any pressure on. There is a weapon they need to have in the weeks to come. He is not going to play anymore, obviously, in this game tonight.
It's a tough loss, Adrian, because he showed his senior leadership in that third quarter, and he was the difference.
He really was the difference. He was moving the football all over the place. Third down, and if they want to keep this one going, they got to take it out to the 21. And that running play is stopped for about a 4-yard loss as Joe Wesley gets penetration and stops Gillespie.
Well, what Steve Spurrier is saying on those 3 plays is I have a lot of confidence in my defense. Even if I give them the ball inside the 50-yard line, my defense is going to make LSU work to get work that clock to get in the end zone. So tremendous confidence in his defense.
David Wazalewski has been busy here in the second half. Kevin Falk back deep again. Line drive kick, and it's returnable. Falk from the 47 on the run. And that is a nice open field tackle by number 30, Benny Alexander. That's twice that he's made open field stops on kick returns today. Old friends Clyde tomorrow night on ESPN Sunday Night Football. Dan Reeves returns to the Meadowlands with his surprising Atlanta Falcons as they take on Danny Cannell and the New York Giants at 8:15 Eastern. Then ABC's Monday Night Football. Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins take on the unbeaten Jacksonville Jaguars. ESPN at ABC, exclusive homes of primetime NFL.
Trying to get the ball out of the backfield. Mike Peterson playing man for man on Kevin Falk. Again, showing you that he is an outstanding linebacker. A lot of the other linebackers, Ron, probably get mentioned more here at the University of Florida, but Bobby Stoops said that Mike Peterson's played as well as any linebacker he's had here in the last couple of years.
Senior out of Alachua. Tyler almost intercepted. Stepping in front was Manuel.
Herb Tyler thrown against heavy coverage now.
Hurst looks like he is limping a little bit as he comes off the field.
Yeah, they brought Thaddeus Bullard in to replace him. And it goes back to what you said earlier. The second-team players for Florida have not done a job, and they haven't been able to substitute.
3rd and 10. Tyler zings it incomplete. Trying to catch Reggie Robinson over the middle.
It's a tough loss for LSU, Ron, if they go on to lose this ball game, because it's their second loss, and it'll be tough for them in the West. Arkansas and Mississippi State off to good starts, but not out of the picture.
No, but you're right. With the Razorbacks and Mississippi State undefeated in conference play, and now 2 losses for the Tigers, extremely difficult. Tyler goes for the end zone. Falk is the man that he wanted, and he overthrew it. So the Florida team will take it over as they fail on the 4th down attempt. We have 1:51 left to play in the ball game.
There's the fighter right there.
Yep.
Kevin Falk, he does not give up. And there's another one right there, Herb Tyler.
Tell you, Tyler has really taken a beating tonight. And Herb, as you know, is not a real big guy at 6 feet 203. He's really gotten bounced around. Gillespie still on his feet, and he breaks it out. Cuts it back at the 25-yard line, and he's down to the 23. Booker's probably saved a touchdown. There is a flag.
After the ball was dead, we had an unsportsmanlike conduct foul against the offense. It's 1st down and 10.
I don't think Steve Spurrier agrees with the officiating tonight. or he's chewing one of his players out.
It could have been.
Yeah, one of the two.
That could have been. But still, I don't think if I were Bobby Gassett, I'd like to talk to him.
No, but if he was chewing his player out, he just substituted for him.
Yeah.
Brought him to the sideline and got a little closer view.
And he can't substitute the officials.
No. Sometimes you'd like to.
I start to say, if this instant, he probably would. That's Gillespie. He's going to take it for 3. Well, tonight's Visa players of the game from LSU, Herb Tyler. 234 yards passing and a touchdown from Florida, Travis McGriff. 125 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, and he threw a touchdown pass. As part of their continuing effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa proud to donate $1,000 on behalf of these athletes to their school's General Scholarship Fund.
Check off with a pass.
Sure did. McGriff got turned around. Woods was over there covering. We got less than a minute to play, and a few people surprised at that call right there. Well, coming up next, residents in college game night. Larry Beal in the studio with an update from a busy day in college football, plus Chris, Lee, and Kirk on location in Athens, Georgia, with a wrap on today's Tennessee and Georgia game.
What happens on that, Ron, is LSU's going to bunch up and blitz, and quarterbacks are taught to check it off if you see that.
By the offensive line, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Well, if this were the first game, I might say it's understandable, but it's not the first game. Well, this is 12 penalties for 130 yards. And Gillespie will take it inside the 40. McFarland will make the tackle on him. And until they whistle it in, which they have not as yet, that should be the last play. Yep. Al Ford now whistles it in, and they don't have to run another one. Florida Gators are going to pick up the victory. And as Mike mentioned, a very tough loss for the gentleman you were just looking at, Jerry DiNardo. Boy, his team fought valiantly in a very difficult place to play. This means that Florida goes 51-2 under Steve Spurrier here in the Swamp. So our final score, Florida 22 and LSU 10. Stay tuned for the residents in college game night coming up next. And join us next week on Saturday primetime as Michigan, the defending co-national champion, takes on Northwestern at 7 Eastern. For Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now, once again, here's Larry Beal.
Thanks, Ron. Wild finish, Cal and USC. Bears were down 21 points late. Marcus Fields into the end zone. Cal comes all the way back to win it. 32-31, shocking the Trojans. Look at Cal, 4-1, surprising the Pac-10. Their only loss this season came at the hands of Nebraska. Welcome in, everybody. Residents in college game night is coming up next. All the scores, all the highlights. Nebraska goes down to defeat. The impact on the national championship chase when we come back. Welcome to Residents in College Game Night. Let's get right to the action. Purdue and 10th ranked Wisconsin. Barry Alvarez looking on. His team trying to remain undefeated. Deshaun Austin signaling fair catch. Fumble. Wisconsin recovers. Mike Samuel would score on a 9-yard run. More from Samuel. Thinks he's Ron Dane. Touchdown. Badgers up 14-3. Playing smash mouth football, but here comes Cool Breeze. Drew Brees threw for 500 yards last week. He's scrambling left. Oh, let's go back this way. He's scrambling to the right. His man is Gabe Cox. Open. Purdue would score on the drive as the Badgers now lead it. Well, they don't lead it at all. They've just tied it up. Purdue has 17-17 at the half, a game that you can enjoy on ESPN2. It is a wild one. Tim Couch lighting it up as usual. 315 yards passing and 3 TDs as Kentucky's trying to put the finishing touches on South Carolina. Very long season for the Gamecocks. Welcome in to Residence Inn College Game Night. I'm Larry Beal. We're calling this Shakedown Saturday. And if you're wondering, there actually is a guy we pay to come up with these titles. We don't pay him a lot, but we do pay him. A day to separate the pretenders from the contenders. Now, we knew coming in that Nebraska was obviously a very serious contender. A couple of weeks ago, they blew away Washington. Last week, a sign of vulnerability against Oklahoma State. Down at the 1-yard line, needed a goal line stand in the final seconds. Today against Texas A&M in College Station. Throwing deep, Randy McCown to Chris Taylor, 81-yard touchdown, and it's 7-0 A&M in the first quarter. Third quarter, Nebraska down a touchdown. Bobby Newcomb, flush, sacked fumble. Warwick Holdman recovers for the touchdown. 21-7 Aggies smelling the upset. Here comes the Huskers. Fourth quarter down by 2 touchdowns. Joel Makovicka not to be denied. 28-21 Aggies. Under a minute to go. 3rd and 15 for Nebraska. Looking for the tying touchdown. Newcomb has time to throw. Picked off by Cedric Curry. And that is the ball game. The final 28-21 as R.C. Slocum, his Aggies finally pull off a victory against a top 10 foe. They were 0-9 against top 10 teams coming into this one, but Nebraska falls 28-21, cancel those Fiesta Bowl reservations. How you feeling, R.C.?
This is a great win for everybody involved with A&M football. Our fans turned out today in maroon and marooned out, and our team showed up ready to play.
That yesterday, our crew asked you, what would paradise be? Is this it?
It's right now, baby. It's right now.
Well, take a look at the rushing stats. Dante Hall and Jamar Toombs both over 100 yards rushing today for A&M. That's twice as many rushers as Nebraska has allowed to break the century mark since the beginning of last season. That's a span of 18 games. Actually, the only other time this happened was last week against Oklahoma State. Nathan Simmons went over 100 yards. Let's check out Kansas State. Big 12 team trying to take advantage of the Huskers' fall. Maybe move up in the rankings, playing Colorado. Mike Machete fumbles. Darren Howard on the recovery. Next play, Michael Bishop. Pump fake deep to Aaron Lockett. Gorgeous catch, 44 yards. 3 plays later. It sets up Brian Goolsby barreling in from a couple of yards out. 10-0 Kansas State. They led 13-0 after 3 quarters, and the Buffs having a very difficult time offensively. Machete with the fling to Marcus Stiggers in the corner of the end zone, and Kansas State leading 16-6 in the fourth quarter. Time winding down there. This is the first real test for the Wildcats of Bill Snyder. No test for #1 Ohio State today, playing Illinois. The Illabuk Turtle Trophy's on the line. Joe Germain says, give me the turtle. And give me John Lampkin for a touchdown. 10-0 Buckeyes. Germain to David Boston, scampering in from 30 yards. This is one of those name-your-score games because the Buckeyes could do whatever they want. I've seen England. I've seen France. I see Reggie Germany hauling in a 37-yard touchdown from Germain. 24-0 Ohio State. And here is Kurt Kittner, the freshman quarterback, who gets nailed. And Niall Diggs, who said the freshman would be treated like fresh meat coming into this game, going in for the touchdown. 41-0 as the Buckeyes cruise. Germain 17 of 28 for 307, 3 TDs, and no interceptions as the Buckeyes, #1 team in the land, 5-0. As we take a look at their schedule now, and it's kind of soft in the middle here. None of Ohio State's remaining foes are currently ranked, basically on cruise control until they get to the bottom line there against Michigan. Remember, Buckeyes have had problems with Michigan, winning only once in their last 10 meetings. Tennessee and Georgia, battle of top 10 teams in the SEC. Champ Bailey does it on offense, does it on defense, picks off T. Martin. At the half, it was 9-3 Vols on field goals. Here's Martin to Cedric Wilson for the touchdown. 15-3 Vols. 2-point try, no good. Georgia's offense, Quincy Carter, fabulous freshman pump fake. Deep ball, and who's it to? Well, Wayne Goodrich says, I'll take that. and he's heading back the other way. Carter was completely befuddled by the Vols defense. They were all over him today. That pick led to T. Martin, Fearless Price, diving in for the end zone. Tennessee up 22-3, showing they are for real in the SEC. 4th and 10. Tricky stuff from the Dogs, but the Vols see Champ Bailey. They pick him off on the halfback pass. Deion Grant takes it back. Tennessee goes on to win it. Maybe not a surprise that they won the game, but the margin of victory, the Dogs were never in it after that big win over LSU last week. 22-3, Tennessee. They're now 5-0. They stay perfect and should steer clear, sailing all the way to the SEC title game. They've already beaten Florida in the East, so take a look at the numbers. Jamal Lewis, he's out, but the two Travises, Henry and Stevens, combined for 160 yards rushing. T. Martin feeling good.
We came into the spring with that attitude. That was our motto, actually, to put on our work boots and be a blue-collar football team. We were kind of finessed last year, and we wanted to change our image to a blue-collar football team. That's exactly what we're aiming for, and it's helping us out to win some games.
It's hard for me to sit in here and talk about something that was, you know, they totally kicked our butts. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, I can't analyze it any better than that.
Tennessee's defense, tenacious indeed. Here's what they did. They allowed only 3 points. The Dogs came in averaging almost 30 per game, and Quincy Carter, he was harassed, he was harangued, only 14 of 37 passing. The game you just saw on ESPN, the Florida Gators beat LSU 22-10, but of concern, Jesse Palmer, the designated #1 quarterback, goes out with a broken collarbone. Doug Johnson leads the Gators to a victory by a dozen. Florida State and Miami. This was 45-0 Noles last year. Different story in this game. Scott Covington, Daniel Franks, 7-7 ball game, late second quarter. Chris Wenke to Marvin Minnis. In traffic, 23-yard catch. Florida State leading 14-7. And here is Wenke, who's really settled down. They simplified the offense for him after that disaster at NC State when he threw 6 picks. And you find Peter Warwick, and you're finding a guy who's going to help you. Had set up a touchdown run, a short plunge, as Florida State does beat the Canes. Miami's getting better, though. 26-14 is the final. Remember, since that 6-pick disaster, Wenke has thrown 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. Warwick, 7 receptions, 190 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, we started this day early on, if you were watching College Game Day, with Kirk Herbstreit being licked in the face by Uga the mascot. It was a tender moment. It was a cute moment. And then later on in the day, Georgia got a licking, as did some other teams around the country. Here's the Game Day gang and Chris Fowler.
Oh, thank you, Lee. A licking, a good old-fashioned southern woodshed, or if you want to use Jim Donovan's terms, an old-fashioned butt-kicking. A fast, ferocious, very motivated Tennessee team beat Georgia and deflated the Dogs' hopes here. Tennessee, one of the stories in the locker room, they went to see Jamal Lewis, the injured running back, on Tuesday in the hospital to cheer him up. Lewis turned around, ended up firing up the Tennessee players, gave them a pep talk, said, you got to go on without me, and they did. Guys, we saw the stats of the Travises, got it done on the ground, the defense pressuring Quincy Carter, a good solid kick, and just old-school SEC.
Yeah, it was. You know, I love the way the defense played and the game plan that they put together. The players went out and executed everything that Georgia tried to do offensively. Tennessee seemed to have 15 guys out on the field, and they covered. And if you look at the offense, they controlled the line of scrimmage. You can say whatever you want about T. Martin and the way he has thrown the ball ineffectively. The bottom line is he's 5-0. T. Martin's getting it done. He's a winner.
I was impressed with Tennessee in a lot of ways. First of all, I loved their offensive line, the way they controlled the line of scrimmage and they ran the football. Al Wilson on defense is the best linebacker I've seen this year by far, including Andy Katzenmoyer of Ohio State. And last thing, Jeff Hall. I told you about the guy. He kicks the ball as well as anybody. Should be the major candidate now for the Lou Groza Award. Tremendous field goal kicker.
Along with Grammatic. And I know you're the kicking czar.
I can't say Grammatic, that's why I say Hall.
You'll hand out the Groza later on. Now, we'll talk about what this might mean for Tennessee in the polls, because they've been disrespected after the close call at Auburn. They were dropped. We'll get to that in a second. But other stories today, got to give major props to your A&M team that you thought was in for a whipping now, because Nebraska would come back motivated.
Yeah, I did. People were fired up here. You're right. I did think that I was wrong about Nebraska. I'll be the first one to admit it. The thing to remember here is they have no excuses. After the big game last week against Oklahoma State, their wake-up call was last week, so you got to give Texas A&M full credit. And the other one to remember, this is a big day for Notre Dame in the Bowl Championship Series, because assuming Ohio State runs the table and goes 11-0, the Rose Bowl will take Notre Dame at 9-2, and what an unbelievable day that could be.
But they got to beat LSU and make Southern Cali. They got a long way to go. The teams I saw today impressed me. Mississippi State, nobody's talking about them. I know they got beat by Oklahoma State, but they beat Auburn today 38-21. They look like, to me, the toughest team in the SEC West who eventually could play in the championship, and Georgia Tech. They beat a very good North Carolina State team. They got Virginia and Florida State coming up back-to-back. Georgia Tech's a very fine football team.
And a team that's beaten Okie State tonight, Texas Tech. Let's give some credit to that Big 12 conference, better than a lot of people think. All right, Tennessee now. We mentioned they had dropped in the polls. About 7 AP voters were here at this game. Talked to Tony Barnhart, our colleague on game day, who was an AP voter. He said Tennessee would definitely move up to #2 behind Ohio State in his poll, regardless of what UCLA does. Bino Cook joins us now. Bino, your thoughts on the top 5 now and how you see this thing shaken down with UCLA still yet to play, Kansas State winning, and Tennessee looking so good.
Well, Tennessee and Ohio State will be a rematch of the Citrus Bowl, and this time both teams will have the same type of cleats. Tennessee should be #2. They won at Syracuse. Now, I don't care if all burns down. Tennessee won there, and the toughest conference in the country to win on the road because of the passion of the fans is the Southeastern Conference. And they won at Georgia with the best running back on Tennessee's team out. I mean, right now it's 2 for Tennessee, 1 for Ohio State. And if I'm UCLA and I win later against Arizona, I'm going to get that game with Miami rescheduled. Because if they don't reschedule it and Tennessee runs the table as the crusade goes, UCLA will be in the Rose Bowl.
That's a good point. It's hard to understand, really, why Tennessee has not gotten a lot of respect in the polls dropping down. But you look at the body of what they've done right now, beating a good Syracuse team, beating Auburn on the road, taking care of Florida, and now winning here without Jamal Lewis. I mean, that's how I see it. I'm going to vote Tennessee after Ohio State.
I don't blame you. They beat Syracuse, and they beat some really good football teams in Florida and Georgia. All of them sound good. But down at the bottom there's about 3 or 4 teams. Remember, UCLA is undefeated. Kansas State looks like they'll be undefeated. So is Virginia. Florida State are coming up from behind. Could be a race all the way to the last week. Hey, are those good football teams on the bottom?
Yeah, it seems to change every single week. Ohio State clearly at this point the #1 team in the country, but I agree with everybody tonight after seeing Tennessee up close and in person. They are clearly the #2 team in my mind. You got to remember they've beaten 3 teams now in the top 15, 2 in the top 10. And then after that, we'll see what UCLA does tonight. Kansas State looked okay, and then the Florida Gators kind of sneaking around the chicken coop. They're still in there with also the Seminoles.
And then again, this race for the Fiesta Bowl, all hinging really on what UCLA can do tonight. That'll, I think, dictate whether or not it was a good or a bad day for the BCS and the folks who want to see 2 unbeaten teams down there in Tempe. Nebraska takes a hit, but they still have Kansas State going through, and I think they would have preferred being able to have Tennessee come on through rather than Georgia here, the Vols having already taken care of Florida. And with that great 30-1 record in November in the 90s, their schedule a little bit easier down the road than Georgia's would have been.
Oh, yeah, Georgia has to play Florida and Jacksonville, and after last year, you know it's Steve Spurrier will want to win that game the way he wanted to win LSU tonight. Tennessee, everything's there. The schedule's there for Ohio State. The schedule's there for Tennessee. Tennessee gets Alabama and Knoxville. They get Arkansas and Knoxville. I mean, it's there. I mean, it's Tennessee's to lose now.
And the battle cry will be, remember Memphis. That's the one loss in November. They lost to Memphis in '96 and just a terrible performance. So the Volunteers on letdown alert. We are unanimous here, though. The Vols should jump up over Kansas State and UCLA, regardless of what the Bruins do in Arizona. That's all for now. From Athens, let's go back to Larry.
Thanks very much, Chris. College game night continuing. Ricky Williams running his way straight up the record books. Cade McNown trying to lead UCLA on a Desert Swarm mission in Tucson, and Penn State trying to bounce back from a loss last week.
Residents in College Game Night is brought to you by germ-killing Listerine. Don't let a good mouth go bad.
Welcome back to Residents in College Game Night. All right, who is the best in the West? For real, a gargantuan clash tonight on Shakedown Saturday. You've got unbeaten UCLA and unbeaten Arizona. But before we get to that game, you got to go back 1 week. A couple of highlights that will absolutely make you want to flip. Ortiz Jenkins I'm saying right now, this is an ESPY winner right here. To win the game, final play, somersault over Washington. Good night, game over, drive home safely. Cade McDowell says, I can do that too. UCLA quarterback up and over against Washington State. So both guys flipped. That was last week. Tonight, early action, no score. UCLA and Arizona. UCLA working on a 13-game winning streak, which is a continuing school record, while Zona has won 9 in a row. Let's move on. Kansas State and Colorado, time winding down. The Buffs have just kicked a field goal. Points very difficult to come by against this vaunted Wildcat defense. K-State leading 16-9, a $1.50 to play there. Cal and USC, crazy game. Paul Hackett talking things over. USC up early. Mike Van Raphorst to R.J. Sowers, who was the real deal as a wide receiver. 77-yard touchdown hookup. USC is leading 21-7. Cal stages a fourth-quarter comeback. Marcus Fields, Strawberry Fields forever. Although this game was in Southern California, Strawberry Canyon, where the Bears live in Berkeley, and they come back from a 3-touchdown deficit to absolutely stun Paul Hackett's Trojans 32-31. The Bears of Tom Holmoe are 4-1. Notre Dame and Arizona State in the desert. Ryan Keeley throws to Tariq McDonald. Wow! Is he going to hold on to that ball? Yes. Second quarter. Keeley's pass intercepted by Ajani Sanders. Down the strip, touchdown, 14-3 Notre Dame at the half. How about the Irish rushing game? Joey, good speed, has some speed. Can they run him down? He cuts, using the official as a screen. Down to the 6. Good speed, 4 carries, 109 yards. And Notre Dame, they go into the desert and they beat Arizona State. A lot of people thought that the Sun Devils' speed would be too much for the Irish, but the Irish now 4-1. Get this, in the past 2 years, the Sun Devils lost a total of 4 games. They've already got 4 losses this season. Oregon and Washington State. The quack attack is for real, folks. Oregon, Akili Smith to Damon Griffin. Cruising into the end zone. And look out for the Ducks. Another Pac-10 unbeaten, along with Arizona and UCLA. They're now 5-0. For the first time since 1964, Akili Smith throws for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, the rest of the SEC, Auburn and Mississippi State. Third quarter, tied at 7. Wayne Matkin to Eric Love. You got to have Love. State's up 14-7. Jeremy Zill's punt is blocked by Adesola Brown. Down at the 1-yard line, leads to a Bulldogs touchdown. Later in the quarter, Auburn's down 24-7. Zills has the punt blocked again. This time, Robert Bean picks it up, weaving his way through traffic. Mississippi State in control on Terry Bowden's Tigers, 31-7. Oh, brother, long season for Auburn. The final was 38-21. J.J. Johnson, 133 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Auburn's now 1-4 for the first time since 1952, and it gets worse because next week they play at Florida in the Swamp. Gulp. Alabama, they win in overtime on a field goal by Ryan Flugner. Sean Alexander runs for 125 yards and a touchdown. Arkansas, along with Tennessee, the only other unbeaten left in the SEC. Last time Arkansas started 5-0 was 1989. They hammer Memphis, who was winless at 0-5, 23-9. It's a final. Kentucky and Tim Couch, they beat South Carolina as the Gamecocks fall to 0-4 in conference play. Tim Couch, in his Heisman chase, throws for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. Vandy, they're 0-5. What else can I tell you? They lose to Western Michigan. Brad Selland kicked a 37-yard field goal as time expired. Vandy blew a 14-0 lead in this one as they stay winless. Earlier on ESPN, just a few minutes ago, in fact, you saw Florida beat LSU 22-10, but it was a costly victory for the Gators. They lose the guy who was designated as their #1 quarterback, Jesse Palmer. Doug Johnson, now the man of the hour, standing by with our Adrian Karsten.
Well, fate dealt the hands of Doug Johnson a strange hand tonight. Doug, congratulations on a big victory. The revenge has to feel sweet concerning what happened almost a year ago tonight.
Feels great. You know, I've been looking forward to this game. I marked it down on my calendar, and you know, after things what happened last year, you know, it feels great to get a victory for the fans, and you know, I think the team played well tonight. We had to do what it took to win, and I think we came together tonight.
Quite honestly now, after all the time that you shared with Jesse, and unfortunately the injury to him, were you disappointed when Coach made his decision to start Jesse Pullman?
I was disappointed, but I think every athlete's going to be disappointed if he's not put in there. But you know, it's unfortunate what happened to Jesse, but you know, same thing happened to me last year. You know, there's got to be a guy stepping in. So you know, hopefully we can you know, come and have a good practice next week. We got Auburn here, and that's going to be a big challenge for us. So you know, we know our season isn't over right now. It's a big win tonight, and we just got to keep playing.
Speaking of keeping playing, will the real NC State please stand up? The Wolfpack, how do you figure this team out? They beat Florida State. They beat Syracuse. They lose to Baylor. Who would show up against Georgia Tech? The Yellow Jackets coming on. Special teams, oh, they block the punt by the Wolfpack, scoop it up, and in for the touchdown. Georgia Tech's team, George O'Leary, got it going. Jamie Barnett would leave with an injury. Joe Hamilton can fling it. Little guy's 5'10", heaves it into the end zone for the touchdown. And NC State goes down to defeat. They go down, and they go down hard as Georgia Tech beats them 47-24. Joe Hamilton throws for one. He ran for two. As Georgia Tech showing they are for real in the ACC. I'm not sure Duke is for real, but they're coming up. Penn State and Minnesota as we switch to the Big Ten. Kevin Thompson, the bomb. Oh, in stride for Corey Jones. 65-yard touch. Penn State taking a 24-10 lead after the two-point play. Minnesota quarterback Billy Cochran. The pitch knocked away, recovered by David Macklin. Penn State doing it with defense. Kind of a sloppy game. They do win it, though, 27-17. The Nittany Lions, remember, they had a one-point scare in Happy Valley last year with the Golden Gophers. They win this one by 10, but the Nittany Lions lost 3 fumbles. They missed 2 field goals. The defense came through with 7 sacks. Purdue and Wisconsin, as seen on ESPN2, still tied 17-17. Drew Brees with a touchdown pass. Mike Samuel has done the job on the ground with a couple of rushing touchdowns. We'll keep you posted on that one. Earlier today, Indiana and Michigan State. Great finish to this one. We're in double overtime. Cedric Irvin, not to be denied. Out of my way. Power into the end zone. Michigan State leading 38-31. Indiana gets the ball. 4th and long. Backup quarterback Jay Rogers, the throw for Tyrone Browning, and he is drilled by Lamar Marshall. Nick Saban, his Spartans, looked like they were going into the tank as the Hoosiers came on to take the lead in the 4th quarter, but Michigan State pulls it out 38-31. Antoine Randall L. was knocked out of this game with a mild concussion, but before he left, he had 21 carries, 134 yards, and a touchdown. One more score from the Big Ten. Well, it was Iowa there, beating Northwestern 26-24. It's a final now as the Wildcats of Kansas State do remain undefeated. They hold on to beat Colorado 16-9, their first win in Boulder since 1973. Well, it was once a great rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma. The rivalry is still there. The teams aren't quite so hot, but the Red River Shootout. And the Red River Shootout, Texas brought the bomb to the shootout. He is Ricky Williams, and he is the bomb. Wearing number 37 as a tribute to the late Doak Walker. First quarter, Williams going to his left, 20-yard touchdown, and that moved him past Herschel Walker into 3rd place all-time in NCAA career rushing, 7-3 Texas. It's the Major Applewhite to Kwame Cavill. Foot race to the end zone. Aloha! 55 yards, 14-3 Longhorns. Brandon Daniels fumbles the snap. Casey Hampton recovers for Texas. 2 plays later, not Major Tom, it's Major Applewhite to Wayne McGarity. 97-yard connection, longest touchdown in school history from scrimmage, 24-3 Longhorns, and give it to Ricky. Up the gut, barely touched, 10 yards for the touchdown. In fact, Ricky Williams would have run for more than 139 yards, except for the fact that he had a long touchdown run called back. 34-3 is the final as Ricky continues to move up the rushing charts. Now he's got 5,380 yards, 218 behind Charles White. Ricky needs to average about 140 yards per game in his final 5 games to break Tony Dorsett's all-time mark. And by the way, everybody that you see on this list, with the exception of Mr. Ricky Williams, has won a Heisman Trophy. Speaking of terrific rushers, Devin West. Go East, young man. Go West, young man. He went for 40 carries, 252 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's the #3 leading rusher in the country as Missouri beats Iowa State 35-19. Corby Jones came in a little bit banged up with toe and foot injuries, but he did play in this one. Not playing in this one, Amos Zeraway. For West Virginia, they didn't need him against Temple. Mark Bulger to David Saunders on a 52-yard hookup as the Mountaineers put it into cruise control against the winless Owls. 37-7. Alvin Swoop played instead of famous Amos, who sat out with a thigh injury. 16 carries, 141 yards, and 2 touchdowns, all in the first half. Cincinnati and Syracuse, predictable. The Qs get back on track as they hammer the winless Bearcats 63-21. We will check out the Heisman contenders when we come back. Ricky Williams moving up the charts. Welcome back to Residents in College Game Night. Moments ago, UCLA and Arizona. Dick Tomey, the bag of tricks. Ryan Springston, the punter, throwing to A.J. Brown down at the 1-yard line. It's 1st and goal for the Wildcats of Arizona as they try to break a scoreless tie in this clash of Pac-10 powers. Time now to talk Heisman, the Wendy's Heisman update. And we'll take a look at who's doing what to whom today as Ricky Williams continues to move up the charts in NCAA career rushing. Good sound effects, too. Ricky Williams on the season. These are all season numbers, by the way. Averaging over 200 yards, 22 touchdowns, which is more than like 63 teams in the country. Cade McNown, not tremendously impressive numbers on average, but if he's able to lead UCLA all the way to the national championship game, the guy is going to get more and more recognition and will move up. Dante Culpepper, the talent from Central Florida, who may be the #1 quarterback taken in the NFL draft. Look at that, 16 touchdowns as compared with only 2 interceptions. Joe Germain, not talked about a lot, but the Buckeye quarterback, all he does is win, 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 and keep Ohio State undefeated. Tim Couch in Kentucky doesn't have as good a surrounding cast, but you look at the numbers week in and week out, and today Kentucky did come up with a victory. Michael Bishop, kind of the dark horse candidate for Kansas State. They had problems offensively with Colorado. All right, we're going to head back to Athens, Georgia. Today we saw Nebraska lose. We saw Tennessee win, so they remain undefeated. So where do we go in the national title chase? We go to Chris Fowler and the Game Day gang in Athens. Guys?
I'm not sure where we go, but Ohio State's certainly the only team in the top 7 that did not have to play a ranked opponent, took care of an Illinois team, shut them out. That was important for the defense. Offensive guys got some stats. Now the question is, where do the Buckeyes go in the polls? Probably right there. They had all but 8 of the first-place votes in the coaches' poll, all but 4 of the first-place votes in the AP poll. Can't see that changing at all. We showed you the schedule earlier. They got a 3-2 Minnesota team. After that, none of the opponents until the Michigan game at the end of the year have a winning record.
Well, I think if you think about upset for Ohio State, one thing to remember, the defense. The Buckeye defense will avoid any potential upset, but let us not forget about November 21st and the Michigan Wolverines. Those of us that have attended Ohio State know that when that game comes up, you can throw the record out. Michigan will be ready. Marcus Ray comes back in 2 weeks. Give him a couple weeks to get ready. Michigan and Ohio State are really what it'll all come down to, like it always does for Ohio State.
But I think this is a different Ohio State team. I see a confidence in them, plus the fact I love their offensive balance. We saw them play in the rain, and they're good enough to beat most teams, even in the rain. I like Ohio State's offensive balance.
It reminds you a couple of years ago, Ohio State at home, big favorite. DB slips down, Sean Springs touchdown.
You better just continue to
forget about it.
I get a lot of time to talk about that between now and then. Meanwhile, we touched on the Volunteers earlier, the impressiveness of what they have done, winning some big games on the road, winning 2 games now as an underdog in the SEC. And their schedule, well, again, they bring a tough defense, which might help them be a little bit upset-proof. You know, talked about it, Arkansas and Kentucky have to go to Neyland Stadium.
But I think the team that could possibly beat them would be the team they play in the SEC championship game. The reason I'm saying that is it could be a Mississippi State team that's a very good football team. Remember, a couple of years ago, Nebraska went into their championship game going, and all of a sudden Texas beat them. Remember? That's a disadvantage to have a game like that.
I agree, but come on, Mississippi State's not going to be that Tennessee team. I know they look good,
okay,
but
we'll see.
I know, it's still a long way to go. But I think the big thing for Tennessee, forget their opponents. The challenge to me will be, now everybody's convinced they're a good team. They no longer have the motivation of Lee and myself and Chris doubting them at times. Now they're going to have to find their own motivation because we're convinced. Will they be able to go out there week after week when we're all saying how great they are and everybody else is going to say how great they are and continue to go out there and strive to be good?
They're going to rally around Lee's pick against them in the Mississippi State. It was a one-point game in last year's SEC championship
Did I
game.
pick Tennessee to beat Florida? Yes, thank you. All right, just
what about Kansas State, a team that jumped out on Colorado, but whose offense did really not look like world beaters tonight against a very game Buffalo defense? Here's how the rest of the Wildcats schedule shakes out. An Oklahoma State team that can be very tough. We know what they did against Nebraska, statistically dominating them in a loss, but they have to go to Manhattan, and then the rest of the games there. Kansas, big rivalry. Baylor's been tough at times, and then, yes, the red letter game, November the 14th. Nebraska's now a spoiler. Imagine that, Nebraska in the regular season, a spoiler.
Yeah, I still think it obviously comes down to that game, Nebraska taking on Kansas State. Nebraska will be a different team by that game. But did you see the game after that, November 21st, when they go on the road at Missouri after a big emotional game against Nebraska? Just keep that game in mind, because if they celebrate after a big win over Nebraska, if they beat them, the Tigers will be ready.
Okay, I think I said before the beginning of the season, Kansas State's going to beat Nebraska.
Yes,
okay, I haven't changed my mind there. Also, they're going to beat Missouri, but watch out. If they play Texas A&M in that championship game in the Big 12, I tell you, Texas A&M, not a bad football team. They could give them a lot of problems.
You're circling those championship games.
Yeah, because I've seen it happen before.
Situation. Yeah. Bino, let's go back to you. How do you see this thing? Nebraska's loss perhaps opens things up for some of these teams that suffered a loss early in the season.
Yeah, particularly Florida and Florida State. If both of those teams meet on November 21st and they have each has a loss, the winner of that game will be at least in the Bowl Alliance. They will be one of the wild card teams, probably with Notre Dame. Florida State both have a shot at the national title. They need a little help. They need Nebraska to beat Kansas State, UCLA to lose a game, maybe tonight Arizona to lose. They need help. And it's going to be tough to get because I just don't see Tennessee or Ohio State losing a game.
Well, when the Gators and the Seminoles won national titles, both did so after getting some help. Let's go back to the computer rankings now. Bino, I know you don't own a computer. You don't even know what www means, but I think these computer rankings, there's been some very strange ratings so far in the early going. We hope they'll correct out by the end of the year when they play a role in that bowl championship series formula, don't we?
I never thought Bill Gates would be involved in picking the teams in the Fiesta Bowl. My complaint against the computers, they tell me they don't take home field into consideration, which I think is crazy. Also, margin of victory. I'm just using these scores. Syracuse won 38-28, had a 38-7 lead over Michigan and won by 10 points. Then, let's say on the same day you have a team 24-24 fighting to get in the Fiesta Bowl. And they score with a minute to go and then intercept the pass and return it for a touchdown. They win by 14 points. Do they get more credit than the team that was winning 38-7? No, I don't, and the computers all should have the same results. Because if they don't, that means you're giving them different types of information.
Yeah, the formulas are slightly
I'm for getting
different.
retired football coaches involved, like Garrett Parsig and Bo Schembechler. Have a committee of 6 coaches and have them pick the 2 teams as part of the deal.
You didn't mention Lee. He's a retired football coach.
Well, Lee's conflict of interest.
Okay.
Indiana's all in it.
Yeah, I bet. Bino, thanks a lot. Let's go back to Larry Beal in the studio.
All right, thanks very much. Always good to see El Bino. He's got the impact of El Nino. Let's give you an update. UCLA and Arizona. When last we left the Cats, they were down at the 1-yard line after the fake punt. And it's Kelvin Ifan going up and over with the hops. And Arizona in the desert. Tucson leading 7-0 in the first quarter. Both of these teams riding winning streaks. We're coming right back. More scores and highlights. Sports Center is just a few moments away and about 25 feet away. Linda Cohn, Bill Pito, all the baseball highlights coming up in 2 minutes.
Residence Inn College Game Night is presented by Residence Inn by Marriott. Room to relax, room to work, room to breathe.
Got to show you this score. The back page nugget in the agate in the newspaper. New Mexico State beats Nevada. Look over on the left. Dave Neal, the quarterback. 611 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. He thinks he's Tim Rattay or something. UCLA has just scored Deshaun Foster, the tailback, the freshman, to tie things up in the desert, 7-7 in a battle of Pac-10 unbeatens. All right, it's been a busy night. Nebraska loses to Texas A&M. Tennessee remains unbeaten. I'm Larry Beal, Linda Cohn, and Bill Pito coming up next on SportsCenter. All your baseball highlights next.